First on it, Sagan. Now Borg. Snatched away. Mangiapane. Nugent Hopkins cross-ice. Three-shot score. Connor McDavid. 3-1 Edmonton. It's a heavy price to pay for 13, but has settled in Dallas and signed a big deal and will be here for a long time, Rantanen. But one-time team. One-timer score. Tricentennial set up by Roslovic. 2-0. Edmonton extends on its red-hot power play. That's now 11 goals in their last 21 tries. In the corner. Now surrounded it, but he's able to stick handle through that traffic. Daly still stick handle through. First on it, Sagan. Now Borg. Snatched away. Mangiapane. It's a heavy price. Has settled in Dallas and signed a big deal, but one-time team. One-time team. One-timer score. One-timer. Extends on its red-hot power play. That's now 11 goals in their last 21 tries.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Snatched away. Mangiapane. Nugent Hopkins cross-ice. Three-shot score. Connor McDavid. 3-1 Edmonton.
On Sports 1440.
One-timer score. Tricentennial set up by Roslovic. 2-0. Edmonton extends on its red-hot power play. That's now 11 goals in their last 21 tries.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
He's able to stick handle through that traffic. Daly still stick handling through.
What a wonderful Wednesday. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, Sports 1440, YouTube as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We got lots to discuss on the show today. Another game. I'm not shocked. The Oilers, I'm kind of surprised that they blew another 2-goal lead twice. Right, that a 2-0 lead and a 3-1 lead, and could not put it away. That is less than ideal for the Oilers. When they were leading 2-0, then they went 21 minutes with one shot on goal. Like what? Like, come on. So it you know what? We talk about accountability. At some point, your head coach, you might have to say, hey, guys, you got to play a different way at some point, right? Can't be the perimeter team because right now, perimeter is getting you know what perimeter is getting you? 6 wins in 15 games. That's what the perimeter gets you. Right now, the Oilers they're not out of it because they get all these overtime losses. The Oilers had 5 overtime losses last year. They got 4 in 15 games this season. And so that allows you to stay in it. And, overtime losses are up all across the league. There's been 60 of them overtime/shootout losses so far, 39 in overtime, 29 in the shootout. So you have lots of teams getting way more points. Now, is that good or bad? It's good timing because today in the business of sport with myself and Rich Winter, we are going to be joined by the deputy commissioner of the NHL, Bill Daly, who's also in charge of lots of the legal stuff. So we'll talk about the business of the NHL. And do you remember in the summer of 2016, the NHL, that's when they changed from 4-on-4 to 3-on-3. And do you remember why they made the change? Because they felt like there was way too many games that were going to a shootout, and they didn't like it. And guess what? It made sense because in 1 year. So do you remember, and you probably don't, and nor should you, don't expect you to, but in 2014-15, there was 306 games that went to overtime. Out of those 306, 170 of them went to a shootout. So only 136 were decided in 4-on-4. 170 shootouts. It's a lot. They changed the rules from 4-on-4 to 3-on-3. The next year, now the amount of games went down a bit, 25. They were down to 275 and then 289, 296 from 306. So not a huge drop in games going to overtime, but the drop came in. They went from 170 in the shootout to 107, 99, 103, 87, got as low as 65, but that was during the shortened season. Last year, there was only 77 games that went to a shootout. Right? 271 games from 306 in 2015. So, a drop of 35 games. But there was a massive drop in the games basically all the games you think about. There was 35 fewer games, but there were still 30 fewer shootouts. Right? So it's good. This year, there's already been 21 shootouts. There was only 77 all of last season. They're on pace for 130. That's 50 more shootouts this year than last year. And I've talked about this for a few years because you start to see it more and more. You watch overtime, 3-on-3, and how often are teams circling back? Oh, I got the puck in the offensive zone. Nope. Now we're going to circle all the way back to our side of center again. Nothing happens. There's no turnover because you can't really force, you don't forecheck a ton in 3-on-3. So it becomes a lot of neutral zone play where nothing's happening. No one's scoring. Now we're seeing more games go to the shootout. It's not good. I've been saying this for a while, and I will still say it. I think the NHL really has to consider a very simple move. No over and back. Take it out of the page of the NBA. No over and back at center ice. You can still attack. You just can't keep circling back. Right? And I say the red line, not the blue line, the red line. And away you go. Simple, because there's too many. And I'm telling you, it's not good. Fans don't want games decided in a shootout way more than they're decided in overtime. You just don't. So that's something to, or even close to 50-50. You don't want that. Not at all. So they will, that's something that they'll be, I'm assuming, looking to see. Now it's early on, but it's not a great trend for the NHL. The Edmonton Oilers are 0-2 in the shootout. Leon Draisaitl did score a great goal last night, but Stuart Skinner's never been very good in shootouts. And the Oilers have scored, they scored 2 goals on 11 attempts this year in the shootout. Not good. Not good at all. So, but the thing is, the game shouldn't have got there. Right? Like the Oilers used to dominate 3-on-3. They're not. They scored 1 goal in 5 overtime games in 3-on-3. That used to be the forte. of the Oilers. It's not right now. Then you throw in their inability to hold on to leads. They have given up 4 2-goal leads now, where that's cost. They've had a 2-goal lead in 4 separate games and lost. Now, they've had 6 games where they actually had 2-goal leads. Twice, though, they were able to win the games later in overtime. But they still blew the lead. So that's 6 out of 15 games when you're leading by 2 goals. And you can't hold the lead. That's a concern. Right? You go 21 minutes with 1 shot. And this, we're talking from the middle of the first period to the middle of the second period. This isn't like, oh my God, we're sitting on a 2-goal lead to start the third. It's completely different. So that's got to change. The Oilers have a day off today, and they will be back on the ice tomorrow. And, is fatigue a factor? I don't know. I think it's kind of an excuse. Yeah, they've played 15 games. Okay, so they've played, I think they're tied with the most games played in the NHL right now with Boston and Nashville. But Colorado's played one fewer game. Pittsburgh, Detroit, LA, the Rangers, like lots of teams, 1 less game. Like, are you telling me that 1 extra game has them so much more fatigued? Like, I'm sorry. The Oilers just have yet to be able to put together, outside of game 2, a really close to solid 60-minute effort. I don't expect you to dominate 60 minutes because the other team gets paid and they got some good players and they want to play well. But last night started really well, had that game in control, and then they just lost it. So we'll see where it goes, but it's not ideal whatsoever. So we'll discuss that. We got Mike Rupp coming up on the show here in the opening segment. Bill Bender will join us, talk some NFL. Ansar Khan will talk about the Detroit Red Wings. Currently, there's 5 teams who have missed the playoffs for at least the last 5 seasons, and all of them are currently in a playoff spot. There's actually 8 teams who have missed the playoffs 5 years in a row or longer. Obviously, the Sabres have the longest drought of 14 years, but how many of those teams are actually going to make it? The Anaheim Ducks, a big win. They spanked the defending champs last night, 7-3. Cutter Gauthier got a hat trick. Leo Carlson's he's averaging a point. He's got 18 points in 12 games. Got some good young players in Anaheim. Can they keep it up? Philadelphia Flyers are in a playoff spot right now. The Columbus Blue Jackets, the Detroit Red Wings, and then Utah, which I know they've only been in the league 2 years, but I'm still counting them as part of the Arizona because, yes, different franchise, same group of players, same GM, and they're playing well. So out of those 5, how many make it? We'll discuss that. As mentioned, Bill Daly will join us at 4:00. Speck and Yaremchuk will be by a little bit later on. So busy show today. We'll take your thoughts. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Also, big news, exciting news. If you're a Jays fan, many of you probably got a little bit more into the Blue Jays, but they got great news as Shane Bieber picked up the option. So he'll get paid $16 million. It's a 1-year deal. And it's funny, like I saw, why would he do that? Because he's happy. He's making $16 million. He's made a lot of money. I think the experience, you can't put a price on experience and enjoyment. I don't know. People said, well, and he could have opted out and got $4 million and then negotiated a 3-year deal at $50 million. So basically the same money, but you want to screw the team over? Like what? Who would make that suggestion? Well, actually, I know who made the suggestion. Ken Rosenthal. What are you talking about? Like, I'm sorry, but that's like, hey, I can't believe you didn't screw over your own team just so you could get a little bit more money. Like what? What are you thinking? Right? What are you thinking? Did a camera guy touch you? Like, come on. I don't, this is a guy making a decision. Say, hey, I had a lot of fun last year. They brought me in. I haven't pitched in a long time. I was just happy to get back and pitch. And then what a run. So he probably feels like there's some unfinished business. But that is a huge signing, Connor Halley. We had a lot of people who thought there's no chance Shane Bieber was coming back. So now you got you Savage, you got Gosman, you got Bieber. Now Barrios is under contract. So in theory, you got him too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, I love a great story. Alec Manoa, you got Bowden Francis. Like, there's guys out there that could potentially get back here and interrupt the rotation. But I'm
Well,
with you. Like,
Manoa's out of the organization now, right? So he won't be there.
okay, well,
right.
there's reasons to come back to this organization, and I think there is kind of that good buzz around the team, obviously. And everyone talked about how the vibe was in the clubhouse. Everybody was happy to be there. It was a good time. Like, I think this is a really good spot to be in. Shane Bieber recognizes that. Why would you want to leave? Why mix it up? Why muddy the waters? Just say, hey, that's $16 million to pitch. He's made a lot of money in his career already. That's really good money. Why go elsewhere when you know what you have is a good thing? So yeah, I think that's a really encouraging sign.
Also, a big move today in the CFL. The Red Blacks are getting Ryan Didwitty as both their head coach and GM. Although, with Burke remaining in Ottawa, like, I guess he's the GM, so that allows you to leave Toronto because of it, and he'll obviously be involved. There's no chance long-term success allows you to be the GM and head coach of any pro football franchise. Doesn't work. But that's a big move for Ottawa, and pretty significant loss for the Toronto Argonauts. So significant move in the offseason here in the CFL. You like to see it. So that's good. And Ottawa's, they're an aggressive organization. They got rid of Dice. Just wasn't working there as a head coach. And they'll bring in Dinwiddie, who's had a lot of success in Toronto, Con, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot of work though, right? Like, we've seen it here in Edmonton firsthand. Like, to ask someone to do both those roles. Good luck. Good luck. I don't know if that's the way I'd want to build it, but if they're willing to do that and give him the full range to all of it, then we'll see how it pays out for him. I wouldn't be doing it though, Gregor. I don't think that's a good idea to have someone have both of those titles to have. It's just too much on your plate. There's a reason very few have done it. And, even when Bill Belichick was kind of doing that role with the Patriots, I don't think he ever really officially got the title of GM. There was people around there doing a lot of the work with the front office. We saw how it played out in Edmonton with Chris Jones. I don't think that's something I would have done if I'm the Red Blacks, but hey, maybe it worked for them.
Well, I got to assume that Burke's like, the right-hand guy there. Like, it's not going to do everything, because you're right. He can't do it. There's not enough hours in the day to do both jobs correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering if he got the title. It's like Demetrius Maxey in Edmonton. He was the special teams coordinator. We all know he didn't do the special teams coordinator. He just did it. So that, that can get you out of your contract in another place because you have the title and away you roll. So, but that's still a pretty big move. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can text us in our email inbox. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Casino, sports, live dealer, lottery, instance, your one-stop shop for everything at PlayAlberta.ca, including the OG of lotteries. $649, $20 million up for grabs tonight. PlayAlberta.ca is where you can get your tickets. I got a lot of texts coming in already. Hey, guys, what's your thoughts on the orders? I hear lots of rumblings. They're going to have to make trades and waive guys. Do we have too many bodies? Is this an issue? From Dustin. Well, I don't know. I guess in one way it's an issue, sure. But, let's look at it, rationally. So they're going to look and say, okay, we think Regula, we like him better than Troy Stetcher as our number 7. So now Ty Emerson becomes our number 7 and Regula is our number 6. And maybe Emerson's back. Like, those are the two guys battling for your 6-7. Younger guy, bigger guy. And so if you lose Stetcher, it costs you some depth, yes. Right? And in case of injuries, sure. But you can say that for every team, because most teams only carry 7 defensemen, right? There's always going to be that. So it's a concern. Now, is he going to get claimed on waivers? I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know. And the orders, you never 100% know. It's not like you go around, hey, I'm going to put this guy on waivers. You're going to claim him? Like, think the guy's going to tell you? No chance. Then you look at up front. So Ike Howard, that's the easy decision. The kid needs to play more. So Hyman comes back. Ike Howard goes down. No problem. Now, Kasperi Kapanen and Janmark. So that's 3 forwards from last night's roster that you would look and say, okay, somebody's got to go. So Ike Howard's 1, but who are the other 2? You would look and say, hey, is Curtis Lazar, Kasperi Kapanen, right? I like Kapanen. Then it's who's the other forward. And, they've tried David Tomasic. When you look at He's not on the first unit power play anymore. He doesn't require waivers. Maybe he's another guy that goes down, that doesn't cost you anything. Now, I'd have to look at the salary cap to make sure that those would all fit. Could you fit in Janmark and Hyman and Kapanen? I don't think they can fit all 23. I'll have to double check it. But with Hike, Howard, Tomasic, and Stetcher down, would they still be cap compliant? I'd have to check that out during the commercial break, and so maybe not. So that becomes a little bit more of a concern for sure. But Tomasic and Howard, they don't require waivers, so you don't lose any depth if you send them down. Again, I got to look at the caps. I think it's close, but we'll see. So I don't see that being a problem. I think that's a luxury that you can do it. So, Gregor, can you explain why Tomasic doesn't require waivers? Because it's his first year as pro player, and so he signed a 1-year deal, and it's basically like it works like an entry level deal. He does not require waivers because of that. It's just simple, but he could only do it for 1 year. Then he would require it. So that's why anybody on an entry level deal, unless they've played 160 plus games and they're a skater, then they would require waivers after that. So there you go. We'll take a quick break. Mike Rupp will join us. The Edmonton Oilers. Hey, the 3-day break's probably a good thing for them because, man, like the first period, you probably like, wow, the Oilers played really well. And they did. Scored another nice goal off the rush. Like, I still can't believe Leon Draisaitl scored from that angle. It's a ridiculous shot. Great. Played pretty well. Stuart Skinner made some saves, actually some key saves. But then it's like they sat back. And the offense dried up. You can't play the game just sitting back and never generating any offensive zone time. It doesn't work. Right now, you can say they got a little unlucky on the shot, goes off a stick, wide of the net, comes ricochets in front, tying goal. Sure, a little bit of luck, lucky to be good, unlucky to whatever way you want to use it, but they relinquished a 2-goal lead. Again. 4th time in 15 games that they've lost with a 2-goal lead. They've actually relinquished a 2-goal lead in 2 other games. So that's 40% of their games. You don't have a 2-goal lead all the time, right? Because they've been trailing. They've trailed in lots of games. So that's not ideal. Not ideal at all. And an area that they're going to have to fix, especially on Saturday when they host the Colorado Avalanche. Take a quick break. We'll return to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Oodle Noodle Origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
You know your neighbor, right? The one who watches your house when you're away, who keeps their yard looking nice, who says hello every day. That's us, GS Construction. Now, we probably don't live right beside you, but we do live in your community. And when it comes to water and wastewater infrastructure, moving along smoothly, we're the ones doing that work. GS Construction has been doing it since 1974, over 50 years. So you could say we are your neighbors who wear hard hats and work boots. To find out what your neighbors do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
No fluff, no fillers, just pure entertainment. Sports 1440 brings the heat with bold opinions, big personalities, and Edmonton's fiercest fans. This is your turf. This is Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's #1.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Harris Schweiner. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Others can try to imitate, but no one can duplicate Wilhawk beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win friends with salad.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
It's your last chance to grab tickets for the Jason Gregor Pizza Pig Out, presented by GS Construction. Thursday, November 6th at the Canadian Ice House, indulge in unlimited pizza from amazing local pizzerias, while you help raise some dough for Kids Sport. Then vote for your favorite slice to help crown the People's Choice Award winners. Tickets to join Edmonton's biggest and best adult pizza party are just $30. Head to jasongregorpizzapigout.com for more details and to buy tickets.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Northwest Crane, available for all your lifting and equipment needs, specializing in selling and servicing cranes. Get lifting at northwestcrane.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
To 24. How are you? Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Of course, Oilers have some days off. Probably good for your psyche, Oilers fans. You're a little frustrated, as you should be. Another blown lead, blown opportunity last night. Or the Oilers are like this quick text from JB in the Loader. Hey, guys, I've been a loyal fan all my life. I've adopted a new outlook. I try not to pay as much attention to the team in October and November because of recent history. They're crapshooting those months, and for whatever reason, things turn around in December. I look forward to December. I watch the other teams, but I stay away from the hometown crew. Let the dust settle and watch from December on. JB and a lot. Well, JB, you got discipline that a lot of us wouldn't have, I wouldn't think. Well, it's my job, so I have to watch it. But other Oilers fans, you're watching, as you should be. I get it. Good for you, JB, but I don't think that there'll be lots of Oilers fans adopting your strategy. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. It's a bold strategy. I'm just not sure there's tons of people that'll be jumping to want to follow that strategy. Let's go in the room now, brought to you by Action Electrical, one of the most diversified electrical contractors in Alberta, and they are hiring second, third, and fourth year apprentice electricians. If you're looking for a career, looking for a fantastic company, they love sports, they got a great culture, send your resume careers@actionelectrical.net. As a former NHLer, analyst on the NHL Network, Stanley Cup winner Mike Rupp joins us once again. Rupper, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing?
I'm good, Gregs. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm doing way better than the Oilers with a 2-goal lead, Rupper. I can that they right now they're like Santa Claus. We get a 2-goal lead. We'll let you back in the game.
Yeah, they're defending. I know that Connor McDavid's touched on this in the past of saying, yeah, we defend. We've answered that. We've shown that. I wouldn't want to probably be the reporter to ask him about it now, but I could see it coming. They don't defend well now. This season they've been struggling in that department. So I mean, until they kind of get that going. You were just talking about they go on these runs, but when they do that, their game is picked up in certain areas, and that defensive play is certainly got to be better. So especially when I think the more frustrating thing is when you know your defensive play needs to be better, but you're playing with leads and then letting it happen. So it's even just managing the game that's not there. So it's a frustrating time. I think they will figure it out, but just like everybody else, you want it to happen sooner than later.
Yes, ideally, that would be a good thing for them. There are a few other teams around the league, Rupper. I watched the Anaheim Ducks late game last night against the Florida Panthers, and the young Quackers, man. They now I know Florida is a little bit of a shell of themselves. They started out 3-0, and since then they've been getting spanked and getting outscored. And they obviously missed Barkov, and they obviously missed Tkachuk, and even a guy like Nosek, I think, down the lineup on their fourth line, they probably miss him as their center iceman. So, how concerned are you about Florida? Because they're not getting anything now. Tkachuk might be back in December, but they're not getting their big guys back anytime soon.
So I know that with the parity that a lot of people are talking about in the Eastern Conference as of the other day, and I know that's changed over the last probably 2 nights, but as of like Monday, you had, I think, 4 teams with like 18 points, and then everybody else was like 13, 12, somewhere in there. Everybody was separated by 1. So I guess my point being is they're in the mix here. I expect them to get better as the season goes on. They'll start getting healthier. To what degree, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like this is going to be a team. I just can't imagine them not making the playoffs. And is that possible? Yeah, absolutely, it's possible. It's still early, and they've been struggling. But it almost feels like that picture where you're going to see them get like wild card 2, and you're going to have a team like Carolina that's going to come out and have the best record in the East. And congratulations, you got the Florida Panthers in round 1. It just kind of feels like that for me. I think they'll eventually. I still think even with them being banged up right now and maybe not playing at their best, if the playoffs were to start today, there's a lot of teams that are higher than them in the standings that I would pick the Panthers over. Maybe it's just because we've seen what they've done over the last couple seasons. But I would normally be more concerned if they weren't fine in the standings. Like, they're totally fine right now, and I would just expect them to get better.
Well, yeah, you would think so, right? Like, it is early on, Rupper. There's already been 60 games going to overtime. So that's what I call 60 bonus points. Yes. And that's why you've got all these teams, like every team in the East has a points percentage. I want to clarify that. Points percentage of 500. If we go to win percentage, it's a little different when we talk about how many teams are actually winning more than half of their games in the East. It's still decent. But it's not as like, oh my God, everybody's great over there. The overtime loss point keeps everything closer, which I know the NHL loves, no question. But there are 5 teams, Rupper, who have not made the playoffs in 5 seasons, who are currently in a playoff spot. The Detroit Red Wings, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Utah Mammoth. Now, I included them because of Arizona. I know it's a different organization, but it's the exact same team. And the Anaheim Ducks. Of those 5, who are you most confident could be a playoff team at the end?
It's funny because I have the standings right here. That's why I'm looking down. I originally, without a doubt, would have said Detroit. But what Anaheim is doing right now, and the way I kind of see this Pacific Division shaken out, I know right now Anaheim's got 17 points as well as Vegas for 17 points in the Pacific. I just look at that Pacific Division. I can't see how they're outside the top 3. I just don't. I'm not impressed with LA. I don't know what LA is going to look like as the season goes on. Seattle's been a really nice story, but there still hasn't been enough to really make a decision on them. And, Edmonton's going to find their way up. I think it's Anaheim. Vegas, Edmonton, in whatever order you want in 1 through 3. And I feel pretty secure about that. So if you were to ask me probably a week and a half ago, I would have said Detroit's the one. But I think Anaheim now. And it's really interesting when you look at Anaheim. They're in this nasty stretch right now where they're 9 games. They had a 9-game stretch of just kind of gauntlet hockey, playing teams that were all in the playoffs last year. what you would revere as being pretty good hockey clubs. And the Florida Panthers are that team twice in those 9 games. Take that with a grain of salt because of what we said on them. But they're 4-0 already in these 9 games. So this tough stretch that they're supposed to be in, they're finding ways to win. They're a fun team to watch. They've scored 7 goals 3 times this year already. I think Anaheim's that team that can get in.
Yeah, wow. I watched the Ducks last night, man. Cutter Gauthier is looking really good right now. Also, Leo Carlson. They've got some young players, and I'll be honest, I'm a big fan of the orange unis that they have. I like those, so that makes it a little bit more easy on the eyes to watch them. But there's lots I like about their team. Like, they're not a cup contender in my eyes yet. You got a long ways to go there, but they are, they're going in the right direction after being in the ditch for a long time. And eventually, that's what you need. Detroit, I still need to see more from Detroit. Now, maybe that's because I've seen them do good, and then they have their 6-game losing streak that knocks them out of the playoffs. It's happened for the last few years. So, I'll be hesitant. Plus, Toronto, Tampa. But now Tampa's won 5 of the last 6. They seem to have righted their ship. And you mentioned Florida. So I'm like, geez, they're still in a pretty tough division. And, Montreal might be the most exciting team in hockey. I don't love them defensively, but I love how exciting they are to watch. Like, they're must tune in TV right now because they'll score a lot of goals and they'll give up a lot of goals.
Yeah, they will. I'm still, I love the future of them. I'm having a hard time. I know they keep winning. I have a hard time kind of considering them to be, I certainly don't think they're a contender. I think some people are saying, oh, this is their year. They're going to take that next big step. They are a team that has a very bright future. Yeah. I just know when I was looking at some of the numbers today on them, and in 13 games, they have 4 regulation wins. Okay, so in hockey, in the playoff hockey, I should say, 60 minutes 5-on-5. If you want to compare that, like that's obviously playoff hockey. There's no overtime. They have 4 of 13. They have 4 wins in 13 games, and that's with 5 overtime wins, 3-on-3. And of the 13 games they've played, only 3 of the teams have made the playoffs last year or were in the playoffs. So they haven't had a tough schedule. They got a nasty one coming up, I think, starting November 20th. There's a nasty stretch. That's where the rubber's going to meet the road for me on Montreal. Can they find a way to look like this or get wins, find ways to get wins during that stretch? Maybe I'll change my tune. But if you're asking me, I know you're not. I'm going to throw it out there. If you're asking me Anaheim or Montreal, who I think is more dangerous to play if they make the playoffs, I think Anaheim all day long.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you. What did you make of the goal last night, Rupper? Nashville, Minnesota in overtime. For any of our listeners or anybody who's watching hasn't seen it, basically, Annanen's the goalie for Nashville. He pushes the left post, comes off. The net literally goes from facing up the ice to now almost like a 90-degree turn. And Johansson is on the far side. His first shot, Rupper, is clearly missing the net. And because the net had turned that whole direction, he hit the side of the net. And then he was able to pick the puck up and slide it where the net used to be. And they deemed it a goal because they said the Nashville goalie just pushed the net off for no reason. And I'm like, well, okay, but here's the thing. The shot, when he pushed the net off, the shot was going wide.
Yeah.
He would have missed the net. I don't understand how they could count that as a goal. Do you?
So, no. And I will say this, though. It's a weird, I think, the common sense, I'm stuttering all over this because it's part of me, the hockey player thinks you can't have goalies doing that. Like, that was a pretty routine play. That post should not have gotten kicked off or knocked off or whatever you want to say. And you can't have goalies doing that. I just think that it's a very slippery slope if that is deemed no goal. But when you look at the rule and you go by the letter of the law, to me, it kind of screams that's no goal. So, I don't know what for an example, the imminent, I think that's a key word in this, is the imminent scoring chance. And to your point, how long do you continue that? He got a shot and he hit the post. That post never moved because that was the pivot post. But with that being said, I went and looked at the rule, and the second part of the rule that says if it's going to be considered a goal, that the play that the imminent scoring chance has to happen prior to the net being dislodged. And when you look at it, the net is dislodged clearly prior to the scoring chance. So that should be a dead play, in my opinion. So
100%.
I think they got to clean up the wording of this. And the funny thing is, I was talking with EJ Raddick about it. How nuts is it in this game that we've all been around the game for so long, watched so much hockey? I've never seen one like this. I haven't seen one like this. And that's where I don't know if there's an adjustment being made. I don't think goalies should have any kind of leeway with putting nets off on a play like that. But at the end of the day, for me, it probably shouldn't have counted.
Yeah. No, I totally shouldn't have counted. When I saw that, I was like, is this a joke? Like, he clearly missed the net on his first shot attempt. So even if the net was on, it would miss the net. So that's kind of what I don't understand. So we'll kind of see where it goes. Also want to get your thoughts on a few other things here. There are some teams and really, some players like the Pittsburgh Penguins, they blew one game against Toronto. I'm still pretty impressed about where that team is going.
Yeah.
Mark Scheifele is currently second in the NHL in scoring behind McDavid. McDavid's played a few more games. Mark Scheifele didn't make the Four Nations team for Canada. And some felt like, well, he's not the high-end offensive player, McDavid or McKinnon, so he's not going to play in your top two lines.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, maybe you don't like him as third-line center. But I'm like, if you're putting up that many points and you're that hot, you can't tell me that Mark Scheifele shouldn't be on Team Canada at the Olympics.
No, I think he should be. I'd probably throw Nick Suzuki in there too. Those two guys, and here's the thing with them is when you look at guys like that, and we'll even, I know we're talking about Scheifele here, but he's certainly been hot clearly this year. But when you go back to last year, the run that Suzuki ended the season on until now, he leads, I think we just looked at it in 39 games, he's got 50 some points. It's the most. He's tied for the most in the NHL with David Pastrnak. So he's been on this run right now. But with a Nick Suzuki and a Mark Scheifele, I think the biggest thing is, Team Canada has always had the luxury of building a hockey team. They don't just build the best and most talented team. Team Canada probably doesn't need more offense. So can you do more than the offensive side, which is very important? You're not on that roster unless you can provide offense. But they kind of have those guys, especially at the center ice position. So I do think Mark Scheifele could do more. I think Mark Scheifele's a decent-sized body that can play big, and he can protect pucks. I think Nick Suzuki doesn't have the same frame, but he's such an intellectual player. I think both guys would look awesome on a line three. Can you do a line three? Can you have a Scheifele centering, Crosby and a point? Could that be? I don't know. I wonder what it can look like. But to say, does he deserve to be there? Yes, 100%. Mark Scheifele, I think, should be on that roster. And again, I think Nick Suzuki should be as well. But it's what does that look like in the role that they're in? Because they're not going to displace one of the other centers playing above them unless there's an injury. So, but Mark Scheifele, I think that's a big thing with him, is that he's clearly a right-hand shot, and he can play with a little edge too, and maybe provide a bottom six role if they needed him.
Rupper, I want to ask you, because you played the role, maybe didn't score as many goals overall, but Trent Frederick, big physical forward on the Oilers. Their games have been void of emotion at times. So last night he did, and kind of got after Bishop a little bit, but that was it, right? You're not scoring a lot. When you're not scoring, and I will say the last few games he has started to hit. I think his game's picked up since the Vancouver game, no question. I think it's been better, but for a team that has been just flat at long times, you got to read the room sometime, do you not? And be like, hey, we got to get something going here. Get a scrum, be yapping at someone, and I just don't see that from him. Why do you think that is, and do you think he should bring more of it?
Well, I've loved Trent Frederick in his career, but he's this was one of the things that I had to learn in my career too, because by nature I wasn't a guy to initiate those things in games. Okay. I would stand up for my teammates at any given moment, and Trent Frederick would too. I mean, he'll stand in there with anybody for his teammates. But sometimes you need to learn that your role is to be that lightning rod. And even to the degree where if things are going flat, like you're saying, we need something in those moments. But also, when you go out there and you play and you prod, now all of a sudden the attention's on you. Because when you're going to play the Edmonton Oilers, we all know where the game plan is.
Yeah.
But that kind of goes out the window real quick when you have someone first shift, second shift, third shift that they're on the ice. They're shoving your best skilled players. They're whacking you in the back of the legs when you're going off the ice. Like those things, I mean, we see it time and time again. I mean, I think that's why over the years you haven't seen think of some of the great agitators in the game. Like when you think of Brad Marchand, think of him back in Boston when Patrice Bergeron's there. Have we ever seen Patrice Bergeron getting run? Have we ever seen him getting targeted in games? No, because you know what happened? You went into a game knowing you had to shut 37 down, and you had 63, Brad Marchand, that everybody on your team wanted to kill him. Yeah. And all of a sudden your focus is off of maybe some of the objectives you had going into the night. That's an area I think Trent Frederick could do a better job of. Being a little bit more of a bully. It might not be in his personality, but the great thing playing in the National Hockey League is not real life. You can go out there and you can be someone you're not. Go and prod. I mean, I think it'd be very valuable for this team. And I'll go back to what I had a coach tell me a long time ago. Just basically said, if the other team doesn't want to rip your head off, I got no use for you.
Yeah,
and that's tough to hear at times.
Yes,
but it's true when you're in that type of role. And I think that's an area that he can be better in.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like you gotta stir the pot sometimes. And I love what you said there, that the focus becomes on you now sometimes, and it gets guys off their game or maybe out of their game, and now they're mad and they're yapping, and who knows? The next thing the guys, because he's pissed off, even though Frederick's not on their line, the next shift out, McDavid or Draisaitl will walk the guy because he's rattled. So but
you look at it from the standpoint, and we'll still stick with Marchand. Look at what the Florida Panthers have done. I mean, Sasha Barkov, he's a big, strong man.
Yeah,
not very mean. Like if I'm playing against him, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get in that guy's face every time I can. Well, guess what? No one does, because you got Sam Bennett, who's acted like a fool the whole game. You've got about 5 guys. All of a sudden now, like you're looking and you're paying attention to different things.
Yeah. No, that's very well said. Rupper, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. I'll talk to you on the rundown on Friday.
Awesome, buddy. Enjoy.
There you go. That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. We got Tater's 2-minute warning, Bill Bender, Anzar Khan, the business of sport, Bill Daly, Rich Winter, and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Whoa, who turned off all the lights? Experience the new charcoal menu at Booster Juice.
Charcoal menu?
Introducing the Eclipse Smoothie, Blackout Booster Mixer, and Midnight Booster Ball.
Where's that voice coming from?
Dark and delicious, made with activated charcoal.
Can we please turn the lights back on?
Sorry, I'm just excited about the new charcoal menu.
Wow, that is good.
Right?
Available now, only at Booster Juice.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with the 5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints? With extremely affordable group and suite packages available and some of the lowest food and drink prices around, Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event. Get your group in on the action. For more information, visit sgsaints.ca.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. It's not lost on me that this radio ad competes with a lot of other dealerships on the air. So what sets us apart? Honesty. At Northgate, we believe in giving you the very best price we can with the most value possible. We aren't giving away free trips or paying off your credit cards, but it is my promise you will get exactly what you paid for every time. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Increase your lean muscle mass and fight age-related energy decline with Regenerlife Creatine. This high-quality third-party tested supplement helps replenish your body's energy stores to support your resistance training. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
When you've just got to get your wings on, bring it on to Game On! Game On is Sherwood Park's new home for game night and good times. Every hump day is Wing Wednesday, and you know you're going to need extra napkins. Get your wings done the way you like with classic or signature sauces, or try them with a dry rub. Just 69 cents each, 25 flavors to choose from. And while you're here for Wing Wednesdays, you can enjoy $4 sleeves of Tilt Lager. So fly the coop and come to Game On! Game On Kitchen, Sports Bar, Arcade, Baseline Road, Sherwood Park.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, Cons is really into the Dolly Parton lately. What's going on, Cons? I think that's 2 days in a row for her. Is there like a Dolly? Is there a Dolly resurgence lately, or just did you watch a movie lately? Islands in the Stream. You're all over it.
I don't even. Is that a movie? I don't know if it's been 2 days in a row, but I've always got time for Dolly.
No, Islands in the Stream is the name of the song.
Oh, I thought you said there was a movie called that.
No,
I never. No, I just. It seemed like a good song. Tensions feel high right now, or in regards to one of our teams in the city. So just slow it down a little bit. It's a good song.
Yeah, there is actually a movie. I just looked it up called Islands in the Stream, but it's not.
I haven't watched it. Obviously,
no, it's something about the one of Ernest Hemingway's novels. Can't say as I've ever seen it. George C. Scott, David Hemmings are in it. No idea what it's about. Susan Tyrell, Claire Bloom. I'm just reading off. I don't know these names. So I'm not just to anybody out there. No, I'm not memorizing the people in that movie. I just Google it up for fun. So there you go.
Nominated for an Academy Award, though.
What?
Yeah.
Steve's clearly a great movie.
Lost to Encounters or Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. So, guys, did I hear you right that Shane Bieber signed in Toronto? What is his contract? Well, it's the same contract. He took the player option, so it's 16 mil. Keep in mind, they paid Scherzer 16 mil this past season. So basically, I don't think Max Scherzer's coming back at his age. He might, but I loved him and everything's great. But would I pay Max Scherzer 15 mil at this stage of his career, Cons? I probably wouldn't. But Bieber at 16 mil to a trade out of Scherzer at 15 mil, 100% I'm making that deal all day long. So I think it's good. So the guys really liked your question about Frederick, and I agree. Greg's any chance you'll ask him that? Well, it's funny enough. I will when I see him in the room. Because I think there's part of understanding that I've got to be the guy who sometimes, stirs the pot. You can't be, and this has been an Oilers, like Corey Perry did it. Corey Perry's probably the one guy in the last few years that was more of an initiator. Cassian would have a few big hits now and then, but Cassian even then wasn't a huge, like, hey, the minute somebody did something or stepped out of line, Cassian had no problem responding. Wasn't an issue, right? Like, obviously, you know what, got mad at Kachuk and was, here you go, reacted right away. But like a consistent, like, just annoyance, the guy who's like, he's the one who's giving you the face wash first. The Oilers organization just hasn't had it for, like, Rafi Torres was that guy, and he would cross the line with some monstrous hits, but that's a long time ago. You had Corey Perry for a year, but not a lot of other guys who've done it historically. I know everybody says Kane, but keep in mind, Kane didn't play last year in the regular season. And, the year before, he's physical, right? Like, Podkolzin's physical. But Podkolzin doesn't really stir the pot. He seems like he's very respectful. He'll hit you hard, but he doesn't say much. He's not like giving you the stinky glove, right? I think you need some of that. And I would like to see a little bit more of it. Last night I was like, okay, Frederick's going to go after Bichelle here. Like, he needs to. Didn't happen, right? Like, got in his face once, but that was kind of it. And I think the way this season's going, like, there needs to be a little bit of, it automatically gets your bent. The minute one of your teammates drops the mitts, they're on alert, because most guys aren't willing to do it, and you respect the guys who are doing it. That's one. But it also just, all of a sudden, man, it's like everybody in the arena is a little bit more on edge, right? There's more energy. But even if you get into scrums and now you're yapping back and forth and it gets other guys going, I firmly believe that Edmonton plays better that way. I think teams like to try to keep the Oilers, hey, let's just keep them quiet. Don't get McDavid pissed off. Don't get Draisaitl annoyed. Don't get him emotionally invested. Right? Teams used to, now, very different players, but you heard that all the time. Don't hit again, you don't want to wake him up. I think in the case of the Oilers, like, those guys are awake, but you play a little mad, you play a little angry, and it's like, I want to show you up now. And they have the skill set to do it. And so, Frederick, even if he's not producing a lot of points, you got to do something else then. You got to separate yourself from the pack. So let's get to Cam Tate and the 2-minute warning, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. It's going to snow tonight, but be prepared. Winter's coming. Stay heated. LegacyHeating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town. Cam, of course, born with cerebral palsy, is in a wheelchair, never let him slow him down. He's had a 45-year career as a journalist. It's awesome. He always wanted to be in radio, but couldn't due to his disability until now. Through the wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Ever seen a ranch horse shuffle home after losing a fight to a fence post? Head down, dust in its wake. That was Brent Sutter after the Rebels home opener. 4-1 loss. No phone, no earbuds, just boots on concrete and the kind of silence that stings worse than a slap shot to the shin. Now the Rebels rattle up Highway 2 to Edmonton this afternoon. Third try against the Oil Kings. The first two, Edmonton treated them like target practice, outscoring them 8-3. And the Oil Kings haven't tapped the brakes since. 3 straight wins, 22 goals. That's not hockey. That's a Prairie Fair shooting gallery. They're first in the East with 26 points. The Rebels, 14 back and fading like paint on a barn door. And Edmonton, let this roll off the tongue, leads the entire WHL in goals. 79 of them. More red lights flashing than the power grid in a lightning storm. Max Curran, WHL Player of the Week. 10 points in 3 games. Dylan Dean, Rookie of the Week. 6 in 3. Those two are pumping out offense faster than a July dairy farm pumps out milk. And tonight, last home game before the Oil Kings head off on an 8-game road trip that'd make a Greyhound driver ask for a transfer. So, 7 o'clock, Rogers Place. Oil Kings, Rebels. And one burning question. Does Brent Sutter walk out of that tunnel tonight with his head up at last? Or is it still aimed at the floor like he's hunting for a lost contact lens? Your 2-minute warning. Gregor, Halley, Kruger, and me. Tacher. Weekdays, Sports, 1440.
Tacher. Oh, be all over that, man. Start calling. Hey, teacher, what's going on? I like it. Yeah, the Oil Kings are good, man. They are. They're fun to watch. Make sure to get out and enjoy some exciting Oil Kings act because they've been on. You haven't really had a chance to see them a whole bunch because they've been on the road. But tonight they're at home taking on the Red Deer Rebels, and then they're back on the road again for 4 more games, and then their next home, actually 5 more games. And then their next home game, I think, isn't until like the 23rd maybe of November. Maybe before that. No. Yeah, they're not home. God. Like, look at this. The Oil Kings after tonight, they play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 road games. They're not home again, Cons, until the 30th of November. It is a wild schedule. They're kind of like the Oilers. Both teams have been on the road a boatload early on the season. The difference is the Oil Kings are winning. They're playing exceptionally good hockey. So you can follow along, check them out, and be excited to see. December, you'll have lots of opportunities to get to games. For sure, of course, the Teddy Bear Toss is on December 7th, which is obviously a huge hit. I think it's close to sold out. So if you're thinking about it, you might want to go get your tickets right now at oilkings.ca. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, no Hyman, no Kane, no Perry. This team reminded me right now of when Woodcroft was closing. They're just flat from Yolandi. Well, that's a fair point. They are. Hyman for sure can help. Even Matthias Janmark plays with a little bit of a bite in his game. Like he's not on the Kane and Perry level by any stretch of the imagination, right? But he's dropped the gloves a few times, and he's subtly dirty. He gets the other team annoyed, but like Trent Frederick, he needs to do more of it. And some other guys do too. Like you got to get out of your comfort zone every now and then. But I know it's not in his DNA, but man, Noah Philp, the way he skates, start finishing some checks and guys will notice you more. They'll be aware. And guess what? It would guarantee him a spot in the lineup. The guy forechecked hard and finished some of his checks. Like 6'3" right shot center iceman. Trust me, you could make a long career in the NHL by doing so. But not a lot of physicality in his game. It's too bad because he needs some. When we come back, Bill Bender will join us. Busy day yesterday, so what's that going to mean? We'll get to all that and more after the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Quick heads up, it's changeover time. Right now at Fountain Tire, you can save up to 15% off select winter tires. Perfect excuse to get road ready and save some cash. FountainTire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
5 games on the ice tonight in the NHL. You got the Leafs and Mammoths losing Washington. Flames host the Jackets. Canucks taking on the Blackhawks, and the Kraken hosting the Sharks in the association. 11 games, including the Caps and the Sixers. Nets taking on the Pacers. Celtics host the Wizards. You got the Knicks taking on the Timberwolves. Nuggets host the Heat, and the Spurs in LA for a matchup with the Lakers. According to TSN's Dave Naylor, the Ottawa Redblacks are hiring Ryan Didwitty as the next head coach and GM. He spent the last 5 years as the head coach in Toronto, winning Grey Cups in 2024 and 2022. In the WHL, the Oil Kings in action down at Rogers Place, hosting Red Deer. Puck drop at 7. In the AJ, you got Grand Prairie and Canmore with Olds hosting Fort Mac. Both those games start at 7. In college hoops, south of the border, number 23, Creighton hosting South Dakota. Tip-off at 6. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll talk some NFL with Bill Bender, look at the Detroit Red Wings with Anthar Khan, and ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Mr. Rooter watches the big game.
Go deep!
What you watching, Mr. Rooter?
The Plumbing Olympics. Frankie Drain Dragon Sanchez is attempting to break the world record in the 100-meter snake. Watch! Wow! Did you see that? He snaked out a 50-pound clog. And in the middle of that wad, a gold medal. What theater?
Yeah, that's
Very cool, Mr. Rooter.
For a plumber who's good as gold, call Mr. Rooter.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass. Increase your lean muscle mass and fight age-related energy decline with Regenerlife Creatine. This high-quality third-party tested supplement helps replenish your body's energy stores to support your resistance training. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Get Black Friday prices now at The Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching Love Cedar chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off. And with every mattress purchase,
Portions of this hour
entered for a chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See the store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
40.ca, YouTube.
For a show. Welcome back to
Partner in Power.
How are you? Welcome back, Jason Gregor.
WEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical
Welcome
wholesalers.
back.
Edmonton is ready for the Power Play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench.
Wednesday.
Get your account today at
How are you?
and win that project.
How are you?
Your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca
How-
account today.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap.
Is there like a
Culligan's
Dolly?
access to reverse
Is there a
osmosis
Dolly?
filtration
On,
systems
Con,
takes
that's
your
got
water
2 days.
to the next
What's going
level.
on?
With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about
get
to get a
road ready
major
and save
upgrade.
some cash.
Safer water that
PowerTire.com.
tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and sadly, some people think orthotics are just glorified shoe cushions. But I've seen a runner drop 8 minutes off her marathon, a grandmother ditch her painkillers, and a 12-year-old nail her long jump, all thanks to custom foot orthotics. So if your feet are screaming for help, flat, high, or funky, that pain's heading to your knees, hips, even your lower back, our professionals will assess you and, if indicated, custom fabricate a pair of orthotics made just for you. Happy feet make a happy person. Feet shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, we continue on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, how are you? On a lovely Wednesday. Got some days off. No Jays, no Oilers. Probably you're like, geez, I've been watching a lot of sports. Can relax now. You want to watch some other stuff, or maybe just reacquaint yourself with the fam. Just take some time off. You're probably a little frustrated as an Oilers fan watching the Oilers have won 2 of their last 7 games. They've blown 2-goal leads in 3 of those games. So not ideal time right now for the Edmonton Oilers. They have a day off today. They'll be back on the ice tomorrow, and we'll get a better sense. Like Saturday was best case scenario on a return for Zach Hyman or Matthias Janmark, and we'll see. Chris Knobloch did say he expects both for their road trip, which begins a week today when they have a 7-gamer. So I guess at most they'll miss 2 more games unless something's changed, which of course with the injuries the way they've gone this year, who knows? So maybe one of them plays this weekend, but sounds like on the road trip is likely where you're going to see them. Now let's get to our football report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. Furnace breaks down late at night or on the weekend. Call Legacy. They'll come help you. No extra charge. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. As Bill Bender joins us from the Sporting News. And Bill, a pretty busy trade deadline in the National Football League yesterday. Obviously, the New York Jets were the main piece, trading off two really good players. The Jets are like the Buffalo Sabres of the NFL. They can't make the playoffs. They're not making it this year. They're not even close, to be honest. So it looks like, with this trade and all these other picks, it's kind of like another rebuild for the Jets. Any reason to believe that this time it'll actually work?
I didn't hate the trade. I think I'm on the lower percentage there too. Like, I get it. You're trading a star player away like Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams. I didn't like that trade as much. But, our Mike DeCourcy wrote about it the other way. But to me, if you're bad and they're bad, and they can't protect their quarterback and they don't have an offense and it's a rebuild anyway, and they're stacking up first-round picks. So let's try that. The Jets have tried every which way to rebuild anyway. As far as the Buffalo Sabres comparison, the Jets get a lot of airtime on ESPN, don't they? A lot more than Buffalo anyway. But to your point, yeah, I mean, if they're not going to make the playoffs, you might as well rebuild, and you can do that through the draft.
Yeah, and now we'll see. You can definitely do it through the draft, but they haven't been able to do it for 15 years, right? So I guess my question is, do you think they have, like, with their owner, do you think they'll ever be able to do it? Like, how much input does he have in the draft process?
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't have a true plan at quarterback right now. When you're bouncing back and forth between Justin Fields and, possibly Tyrod Taylor, the Aaron Rodgers thing didn't work. And I think when you don't have it at the most important position, that's where it starts. They've got some pieces on that offense that I like, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, but they've got to find the right guy to control. And you got to be able to protect. I mean, the number of sacks that their quarterback has taken this year, you can only pile so much on Justin Fields when you're taking that many sacks.
True, although I will say, like, I saw the one game and they said, like, his time in the pocket on those sacks is like 4.8 seconds. So we maybe got to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. Any other deal that you think will have the best possible playoff impact or playoff stretch run for a team?
No, nothing really stood out, honestly. I know some teams added some pieces, but there was more about the teams that didn't go out and get somebody, like Green Bay, for example, losing Tucker Kraft, and they don't make a deal for, a tight end. They bring one up off the practice squad. I thought, overall, not really. I think it was an otherwise uneventful trade deadline for me outside of what the Jets did.
Yeah. What about the Cowboys side of that deal?
And I think, again, coming off the disappointment Monday, I thought they were going to beat the Cardinals Monday night. So to see how bad that defense is, Quinnen Williams ought to be able to help there. And they're still dealing with the fallout of the Michael Parsons deal, but that defense is just bad. And I think, the draft picks that they got from Green Bay should help. They do need to rebuild that defense. I'm not like hypercritical of Jerry Jones. I know what the Parsons deal was, but their offense is really good. Parsons or not, that defense is bad.
Oh God, yeah. like that. Like, if you look at the trade, it really kind of comes down to they got rid of Micah Parsons, then you got in Williams, and you got Clark, and you got a pick. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm just not sure they're any better. It's like, yeah, we switched the pieces on the chessboard, but we're not in any better of a position. And that's kind of how I look at the Cowboys defense.
Yeah, and that will continue because right now, I mean, with the Pickens trade that they made, their offense is definitely playoff caliber. They had a couple bumps the other night. Javonte Williams has been a great play for them, but you can only get in so many shootouts. And they're another classic kind of home and road team. They're good at home, which is why I thought they would beat the Cardinals, and they've been pretty rough on the road to date this season. And that's why I think they'll miss the playoffs, but those draft picks will help them in the future. When you move a player, they got to be pretty special. Obviously, Parsons is that. But other than that, I think they've made a little bit of a nice bet for their future.
When you look at the teams, what about the Colts trade? How much better do you think that makes them?
Oh, I mean, in their position, make that deal because the Colts are going for it. And I kind of like it because they've not only been a surprise team, you've got an MVP candidate at running back. You're able to bring a piece to I think Jonathan Taylor is my MVP right now, honestly. Daniel Jones has been great. You bring Sauce into the mix on that defense. It's played well. They kind of got a little bit of a reality check against Pittsburgh. And honestly, I picked the Colts to win, but I can say that in hindsight. I saw that coming, but you're not surprised when Pittsburgh pulls out a victory like that. So to add Sauce to that defense and puts them in control of the AFC South, and man, they've been one of the best stories in the first half of the NFL season.
Yeah. They have been for sure. And one of the biggest surprises, I found it interesting. Someone's like, well, I don't think the Colts bet on Sauce Gardner. They bet on Daniel Jones, which I found was an interesting way to look at it.
Correct. He's been great. And getting the ball out on time. Alec Pierce is a guy that's played really well with Daniel Jones. Each week he's putting up some consistent numbers. Tyler Warren, what a draft pick. And anybody that watched him at Penn State the last couple of years kind of knew he was going to be all right. And, I look for that to continue. So they're a dangerous team. Like I said, the thing about the NFL right now that is really interesting to me is you have 8 teams with 2 losses, basically. That's the best you can do. There's no one-loss team. There's no unbeaten team. And that tells me that the margin between, say, the Colts and the Bills isn't all that different than, in the NFC, the margin between, we're going to find out Monday night, between the Packers and the Eagles.
Now, what do you make of the Eagles, right? Like their offense, A.J. Brown, obviously like last year, I remember after 5 games, people thought the Eagles were terrible and then went on to win the Super Bowl. So what do you make of the Eagles this season?
I'm saying this loosely. The games matter, but I don't judge teams on September in the NFL. Now that we're in November, though, you're looking at teams, you'd be like, okay, they either got it or they don't. I think the first 2 months of the season, coming off the Super Bowl, there was going to be some ups and downs with the Eagles, but we'll find out Monday night. If they go in the Lambeau, where Green Bay hasn't lost back-to-back home games under Matt LaFleur, we can talk about, you talk about the Browns and Panthers losses. They don't lose back-to-back at home often. And if they can go in there coming off the bye week and have a strong performance, get the running game going around Saquon and beat the Packers, then I think we're going to start to talk to them about them in that vein, right? That they're like the Super Bowl contender, the team to beat in the NFC. Because I don't think Detroit or Green Bay or Philly or the Rams has really reached out and grabbed and taken that as like, we're the team that's going to be the 1 seed.
No one has. You look at the AFC, and the Chiefs are technically on the outside looking in. Well, not technically, they are on the outside looking in right now, but not by a lot. Any concern for the Chiefs, or in the fact because it's going to be hard pressed for them to get home field advantage? How much of a detriment do you think that'll be for them to get back to the championship?
Well, I don't think they're going to win the division either. I mean, that's the problem. Like, you at least get a home game out of that, but Denver's played really well. And, you have the Chargers in that division that are going to be in the mix, and they've already lost to the Chargers. So that's going to be the hard part. And then now, Kansas City's the team you have to face in the wild card, and they're coming in your house. Nobody's going to feel great about that because they've shown flashes of being the best team in the AFC. But picture like Buffalo and Kansas City playing in the wild card round, like something like that happening. That'd be wild. I don't think it will, but that's the hard part for me in believing that the Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC. I still like Buffalo. I know we've done this before, and in the AFC North, keep an eye on Baltimore. I know they had a horrible start, and Lamar was out. The defense was terrible. The last 2 weeks, the defense has got its act together, and Lamar's back. So that just the running game's back. So they could go on a really serious run in the AFC North and be a dangerous team in the second half of the season.
Yeah, no question about it, right? Like if you're the Steelers, a few weeks ago, you're like, oh man, we're in a pretty good spot here, and maybe not so quick in that regard. Just when you look at the playoff picture, and once you get Lamar Jackson back, they're only 2 games back the Steelers, which isn't a huge number to overcome. What about the Jaguars? Do you think they're a playoff team?
think they're close. I just don't know that two will get out of that division, and Houston, obviously, this is a big game for Jacksonville this week. Houston, the second one, you want to get splits in those, the advantage of being in that division. But the hard part is the Colts are the team to beat in that division. Now, Jacksonville, a couple weeks ago, they get that win against Kansas City, and I thought, yeah, this could happen. But they profile as a team that might just be on the outside looking in. But the talent is there. And I think, you know what? Liam Cohen has done a better job than I thought he might in his first season. That NFL experience as a coordinator has clearly paid off.
The Chicago Bears right today are the number 7 seed in the NFC. And I know they had that great comeback and wasn't pretty, but still they won the game. And when you look at the Bears, what do you see? Do you think they can scratch their way into a playoff spot?
Yeah, I do. And you're talking to a Packers fan. So you cross-reference the schedule every week. And I think the huge part of it is the Bears have had a very friendly first half of the schedule, and they've taken advantage of that. That was a big win for them Sunday against the Bengals, because that was one that they could have lost, and they were, and it's backloaded with division games. So we're going to see both Green Bay games. Those are going to be huge games, not just for the Bears in this season, but in trying to turn the nature of that rivalry, which Green Bay is. Oh, now I know the Bears won in week 18 last year. Jordan Love left the game early. But those games are going to be huge. And I think that's the progress that Ben Johnson and the Bears have made. And yes, to answer your question, they could slip into the wild card. And I think there is room. It's really hard to do, though, right? That you can get 3 teams from the same division in the playoffs, because I think Detroit and Green Bay will get in as well.
Yeah, it's hard. Now, speaking of young quarterbacks, and they're the hottest team in the NFL right now. They've won 6 in a row. Drake May and the New England Patriots. Drake May looks legit. And the Patriots, hey, if you get good quarterback play in the NFL, or really in the CFL, any football league, you're going to have a really good chance. But how surprised are you at how well May and the Patriots have played?
Well, their defense has played well. And Drake May I liked him in college. I did a profile on him when he was at North Carolina, and good kid, good family, quarterback, athletes all over the family. He's keeping it simple. He's accurate. He's not taking as many sacks. He's mobile. He's got a little of that it factor to him, and it shows. There's going to be bumps. It's not going to be perfect in the second half of the season, but the moment I was sold on May, they beat the Bills on Sunday Night Football. I'm like, okay, that's not a fluke. They're a really good team, and I think Mike Vrabel and his personality and having a second chance to be a head coach, not just that, but being at a team where he played and the pride he has in that has made a difference. And yeah, I think Drake May looks like the real deal. Best passer rating in the NFL among the guys that have played in every game. Lamar obviously has a higher passer rating, but he missed time. It's an amazing season, amazing story out of Drake May so far.
Oh yeah, it's been great. Awesome, Bill. Really appreciate it as always, man. Enjoy the week.
I will. Thanks so much for having me on. Take care.
You betcha. That is Bill Bender from the Sporting News, national writers, covered the NFL for a long, long time. Great rundown. Got a lot of people. Hey, the other division that could have, now you think about it in the NFC, can you have 2 teams? You got 3 teams in 2 divisions, cons, that are really good. They both can't have 3. It's impossible, because you got to have, the Eagles are the only team from their division that's going to make it. Right. And I think there's probably only one from the NFC South. And then it's just going to come down to which team from the West or the North doesn't get in.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, divisional games become even that much more important, right? Because you're trying to handle those big losses, and it's gonna be fun to see down the stretch here. I really love the trade deadline, Gregor. We talked about it yesterday. It kind of felt unusual because we don't see that very often. Usually, there's a couple trades, but we saw more teams taking swings yesterday. I'm looking forward to it. And you asked about the Jags. Do you think Trevor Lawrence is good?
He's slightly above average.
Yeah.
He's not, he has yet to show that he can kind of make you plays and really lead his team to wins. That's what I'll say.
I feel like he peaked in terms of, at his respective level, freshman year at Clemson. He got so much hype, won the national championship, I believe. And then he was good. He deserved to be the number 1 overall pick, I would say. But after his second year in the NFL, I don't know what he is. Like I don't think I know he is a playoff win. Don't need to remind me about that one. But like I don't know if he's the guy, and you had to pay him like he was, and he's been good, but he's one of those guys. I just can't believe in the Jags because I can't believe in Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, no, that's valid. Like you look at schedules, and we're talking about the NFC West, and the Rams look very good, and you've got the 49ers and you got the Seahawks. Like that's tough. So the 49ers play the Rams this weekend, huge game. Then the 49ers 2 weeks from now they take on the Cardinals. Right? Then they've got later. Now they got Browns and the Titans back to back, and those are must-win games for them. But they finish off with the Colts, the Bears, and then the Seahawks in the final week of the season. So they kind of control their destiny because the Panthers are 5-4. They're right there. So they got the Rams, the Panthers, the Bears, and the 49er, and then the Seahawks. So 4 teams that you're battling against. Now the Colts are in the other division, but they're a really good team. So I'm kind of curious to see the 49ers have obviously battled a lot of injuries, yet they're still there. And that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, their coaching staff, management, having the depth that they do have has been unbelievable because it's not just been a lot of players, it's been marquee players, and now they're starting to get them back. Some of them will not return on the defensive side of the ball. It's taken a few hits, but what they've done coaching-wise has been unbelievable. And we thought it was kind of a bit of an easy schedule, but Panthers are feisty now. You got the Colts, who I think have surprised a lot of people, the Bears, and the Seahawks to wrap up this season. Like it's not quite that easy schedule we thought they had.
Well, look at the Rams schedule. So they got the 49ers, then the Seahawks, then the Buccaneers, and the Panthers. So all playoff teams right now, all above 500. Then they play the Cardinals, but then they got the Lions again, then the Seahawks again, and they finish up with the Falcons and the Cardinals. Like they got a pretty tough stretch here from November 16th to December 18th. Rams, Seahawks twice, Buccaneers, Panthers, and the only kind of quote easy game in there is the Cardinals. So that is a tough run here for the Rams. And like so you see all these teams now and they all got 6 wins, cons, but the schedule's pretty tough. And the Rams and the Seahawks are playing each other. So I guess unless they tie, right? Only one can win. Whereas I look at the Seahawks schedule, they got the Cardinals, then they got the Rams, but then they got the Titans, then they got the Vikings, and they got the Falcons. Then they got Colts and Seahawks, Panthers. So it ends, but they could put themselves with that stretch of Titans, Falcons, and Vikings. Like that 3-week stretch, that to me is going to be their opportunity if they're going to win that division or not. They got to take care of those games for sure. But no, the NFC West is really competitive.
Then on the flip side, their Colts dropped in there a couple times against the Seahawks and the Niners.
Yes.
Tough games for them.
Oh yeah, the Colts. I look at New England, man. Like New England, and plus like New England and Buffalo, they're good, but the other 2 teams in their division are terrible. And so that's almost like 4 guaranteed wins for them against Miami and the Jets. I know they don't play them 4 times yet, but because I've already played them. But on the season, that's right now. That is some pretty easy games. Ansar Khan will join us next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions. Take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready? I'm not just here to make a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
What's not to love? With no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year.
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater.
From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
A Saskatchewan boy who grew up loving and playing sports. At least we think he grew up. Listen to Kevin Carius weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Increase your lean muscle mass and fight age-related energy decline with Regenerlife Creatine. This high-quality third-party tested supplement helps replenish your body's energy stores to support your resistance training. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I've got to get 2 cheeseburgers, medium fries, and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. Hey, maybe I'll eat 1 cheeseburger right away and save 1 for later. Maybe I'll stack them and eat them both at once. Options. Oh, delicious, delicious options.
So 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a 2 cheeseburger meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular menu price order when you enter promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$328. We're having an awesome day. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Coming up, Deputy Commissioner of the NHL, Bill Daly, will join us on the business of sport. You got any questions? I got lots, but if you got some, text them in. 833-401-1440 in our UL inbox. And we'll talk to Bill along with Rich Winter in the 4 o'clock hour. Lots and lots to discuss with Bill. We're also going to talk like his journey. And the thing about business of sports is always like to have people on in different roles in the sporting world, because a lot of you are like, well, hey, you know what? Not everybody can be a player. Right? Some of you don't want to be a player. Some of us aren't good enough to be a player, but maybe you want to be involved in sports. And there's lots of different ways to go about it, from training to working in management to coaching to being a therapist, lots of different things. And obviously in the case of Bill, hey, how do you get to become the second guy in command, right? Deputy commissioner, amongst other things. So we'll talk to Bill kind of about his journey in the hockey world, as well as it's time to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And McDonald's Canada has the return of hockey. Guess what? Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. You can get a Big Mac or a McChicken or a filet of fish deal for just $4.49 plus tax every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, but only when you do it through the McDonald's app. So use the app, save at McDonald's Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. And Sarkhan from M Live, beat reporter for the Detroit Red Wings, joins us. And Ansar, you've been covering the Red Wings for a long time. So long, in fact, that you remember when they used to make the playoffs on a regular basis all the time. And obviously, unfortunately for them, that hasn't happened. But the start of this season can give Red Wings fan hope that maybe the drought is over. Now, I know none of us can accurately predict the future. Otherwise, we'd be making lots of money elsewhere. But what do you think makes this start sustainable for the Red Wings?
Yeah, definitely. You know, they have over the last 2, 3, 4 years, or even longer than that, they have gotten off to decent starts in the season, good 10-game starts, and then they just fade. And even a couple of times when they picked it back up mid-season, their problem has been really bad. March, the last couple of years is when they've really faded. when they've been in playoff position, and then just got away from them late in the season. But there is something that just feels different about this start, and I think it starts with the head coach, Todd McClellan. He came kind of parachuted in right after Christmas last year, and they saw an immediate boost. I mean, 2 7-game winning streaks within his first 20 games as coach. Got them into a playoff position before the late season fade. And this year now, he has a chance. He got a chance to have his first training camp with the team and kind of get his system, get his way of doing things, his way of practicing everything right from the start with this team. And I think that's made a difference. I think that might be the biggest difference as far as changes and why this start could be different from the past few starts. But also, they got a little bit kind of a little bit of energy boost from some young kids. 3 of them made the roster to start the season: Emmett Finney, Axel Sandin-Pellikka, and Brandsteg Nygaard, who they've since sent back down to Grand Rapids. But Finney, in particular, up front, playing on the top line, very, very impressive for a 7th-round pick. And he's looked really good. Sandin-Pellikka on defense, he's playing in the top 4, gives him, some mobility there, some puck-moving ability. So some young legs. They play with more pace. They're a quicker team. And I think that, along with Todd McClellan here, starting the season with them, have been the 2 biggest differences.
I know there is some concern. Patrick Kane went out on October 17th. He had 5 points in 5 games, hasn't played since, and people are like, uh-oh. But they've really been able to absorb his loss. Ansar, what's the latest on a timetable on when he could return?
Yeah, he's supposed to join the team for practice tomorrow.
Okay.
And he's been skating on his own. He's got an upper body injury, so he has been skating on his own. But he's supposed to practice with the team for the first time in a couple of weeks tomorrow. So it looks like I don't know if he'll play on Friday against the Rangers, but it looks like he's close to coming back. And he was off to a really good start too. Before he got injured, he had 5 points in his first 5 games. And they have been able to withstand the loss of the offense there. But certainly it'll be a big boost when he comes back.
Oh, yeah, no question. Helps their team. Dylan Larkin has had himself a fantastic start. And, hey, Dylan Larkin, I actually loved that he kind of called out his management last year. I didn't like the fact they did nothing at the trade deadline. I want a competitor. Well, what are we doing? Right? Like, hey, come on, we think we're close here. And, he's, when you say that and then you don't play well, it's one thing. But, ever since those comments, man, like Dylan Larkin's kind of put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, for sure. This is probably his best start in his 10th season in the NHL. He's got 18 points in 14 games. He's been the catalyst. He's been driving that offense, especially earlier in the season. It took a while for DeBrincat to score his first goal, but now he's kind of back on a little bit of a roll. They were missing Lucas Raymond for a couple of games, and of course without Patrick Kane, so they really needed Larkin probably more than ever. Right at the start of the season here to kind of to prevent from falling into a hole.
Yeah, Ansar Khan joins us on Sports 1440. The back end, and Mo Seider's obviously being a main guy. He's playing like over 25 minutes a night for the Red Wings. Edvinson came in last year, and he's, I think, second most minutes on the team. How has Sandin Pellikka, how has he looked in the games that he's played? Because I noticed he's playing almost 19 minutes a night. He's playing in their second pairing. How's he been overall?
Yeah, he's been good. Defensively, still, as you'd expect, a rookie here still makes some mistakes with, turnovers and such. But they've certainly put a lot of trust in him. They're not they're not letting him. They're not breaking him in slowly. He's playing more than 18 minutes a game, playing in the top 4. He's manning the point on the second power play unit. They're giving him a lot of responsibility right off the bat, and that really shows what they think of him. I think at the start of the season, they did not anticipate him making the roster.
Yeah.
And that's I'm sure that's why they kind of loaded up a little bit on veterans, the ones that they already had. Plus, they went out and got Jacob Bernard Docker, and then later in the summer, Travis Hamonic. And so they actually started the season with 8 veteran defensemen, but they liked Sandin Pellikka so much, and they felt that this kid is ready and we're going to take a chance with him, that they waived Eric Gustafson, and Justin Hall, and we're in Grand Rapids now. So that, it shows you what kind of belief that they have in him.
Anzar, now I was looking at his minutes. He's kind of split time between Edmondson and Ben Sherratt, right? But he's actually played more. And Edmondson, that's kind of 2 really young guys playing together. How have they fared when they play together?
Edmondson, and you're talking Edmondson and Sandin Pellikka?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the pairing at the start. They got off to a good start. They played well. Edmondson's more of a, they're very a contrasting pair there. Edmondson's big, 6'6" guy with long reach, a little abrasiveness to him, kind of more defensive oriented. Sandin Pellikka is a smaller, skilled guy, puck mover. They played well together, but lately he split it up. He's got Edmondson playing with Sider in the top pairing, and Sandin Pellikka with Ben Sherratt. And I think a lot of that too probably depends on matchups, especially on the road where they don't have the last change. But Edmondson had a good last year. Was his first full NHL season. He really acquitted himself well, and I think he's kind of picked it up a little bit where he left off last year.
Yeah, no. Goaltending, John Gibson. I know the first game at his first game, but him and Cam Talbot have been getting him pretty good goaltending. How do you see Gibson fitting into Detroit?
Okay. He had a good game last night. They lost 1-0 at Vegas, and Gibson really probably deserved a better fate. He really kept them in it and gave him a chance to win. Overall, just a little more consistency. Talbot certainly has been the better of the two, and that's why they're almost splitting the duties equally, which I'm sure they didn't anticipate coming into the year. They looked at Gibson as the unquestioned number 1 guy who could give them 50 to 55 starts. We'll see where that goes. If Talbot continues to play well, I'm sure they'll be splitting the duties. Gibson, I think he's playing much better since that really, a bad first game. The entire team played poorly in the opener against Montreal. But I think, Gibson is obviously his first year with another team other than Anaheim, and probably took a little time to adjust. But I think they're certainly expecting and hoping that he can be a little bit more consistent going forward.
I love Todd McClellan after game 1. He didn't pull any punches. He said, okay, enough's enough. I don't want to hear about it. We got to put it into action. Did this group need to hear something like that? I'm sure he had said it privately, but when you put it publicly, it's kind of like, hey, enough's enough here. If we want to win, you got to play smart hockey to win.
Yeah, for sure. And he's definitely more blunt than the last 2 coaches that they've had, Jeff Blashill and Derek Lalonde, who were more who weren't as forthright in criticizing players publicly. McClellan has no problem doing that. He's in his short time here, he's he's called out players by name after bad games in his press conferences. Several of his practices is very loud, very vocal, very particularly. You mentioned after the opener against Montreal in his post game, he certainly made his feelings known. But also after a recent game against St. Louis, where they fell behind 4-0, and they came back and actually won that game 6-4. But he was not happy with that, and he let them know in practice the next day. He's quite animated, and I think that's exactly what this team needed.
Ansar, good rundown, man. We appreciate it. We'll be watching with interest to see if the Detroit Red Wings can get back in the dance. First time in a long time, which I'm sure Red Wing fans are hoping happens. I really appreciate your time.
Sure.
It's Ansar Khan, longtime beat reporter for the Detroit Red Wings, 9-5. That's a really good start. You think about that, right? So that you times that by 5, that's 45-25. Then they'd have 12 games left. You get to 50 wins, you're an NHL, you're a playoff team, regardless. You're getting in. So but it's hard to do, right? Like, it's hard to win 9 out of every 14 games. So they've had a good start. Can they keep it up? That has been a little bit of a question in Detroit for many years. They'll have good looks, and then remember that was they won 6 in a row, and then they turned around, they lost 6 in a row, and basically lost their way out of the playoff race. Brutal. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. $20 million. No one won last night, so Fridays. $20 million Lotto Max. Also $20 million tonight in Lotto 649. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca. We'll come back with 5 questions or more, and then we've got Bill Daly joining Rich Winter, myself, in the business of sport. It's a Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts, and play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocksyeg.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
When you have lifting and material handling needs, Northwest Crane delivers. Western Canada's Sandy dealer, backed by the industry's toughest one. 3 years, 3,000 hours, no compromises. They service all crane makes and models with skilled technicians and deep industry expertise. Alberta owned, with locations in Leduc and Grand Prairie, and fully equipped service trucks. Northwest Crane keeps your operation lifting. For more information on sales or service, visit northwestcrane.com or call today.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business, and for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Miss golf during the off-season? Of course you do. So head to the Leduc Golf Club and try their state-of-the-art golf simulators. Perfect your swing. Enjoy delicious food and beverages, and even book a lesson with one of the Leduc Golf Club pros. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just starting, the Leduc Golf Club simulators offer a great way to keep your game sharp any time of the year. Call or visit the Leduc Golf Club today to book your spot and swing into action all year round.
Increase your lean muscle mass and fight age-related energy decline with Regenerlife Creatine. This high-quality third-party tested supplement helps replenish your body's energy stores to support your resistance training. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at Cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Welcome back. Wednesday edition of the Gregor Show, Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening and watching both Sports 1440 as well as Oilers Nation YouTube. So check it out. It's time now for 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where you can get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas. When you buy the matching Love Cedar chair, also get 25% off bedroom and dining furniture right now at The Brick, thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Any capacity of the Oilers games this week so far that has disappointed you the most?
Yeah. Inability to hold on to a lead. Figure it out.
I thought you might go elsewhere, because that's where I was going to go as well. How many times you have to learn from your mistakes? It's the best league in the world. Teams can fight back. Be better. Learn from your mistakes. Question number 2. Of the players lost this past offseason, who do you think they missed the most?
Oh, man. It's a good question. I think they miss Corey Perry's gamesmanship. That's what I'll say.
I would agree with you. I think there's components from every player lost. I mean, they didn't have Evander Kane last year in the regular season, but although he could do some selfish things, kind of liked how, he might give you that X factor, just bringing you into the game. Well, he might punch someone.
And he's good at annoying the other team, as Rupert talked about, getting guys off of their focus, which is good. Honestly, though, there's nothing they miss about Arvidsson. I'm sorry. There's Jeff Skinner, Mangiapane and Roslovic have been better than them. I don't think there's any discussion really on that.
Yeah, I think it's those two or Connor Brown. He could, I think he was a good guy in the room, helped on the PK and all that. But
yeah, there's salary cap issues too there, right?
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Question number 3, we got Bill Daly coming up on the show. If you could get in his ear, and I guess you could. And
what do you mean? We're gonna talk to him. We're gonna talk to him in 15 minutes.
And you could have some real influence here and change something in the NHL game. What would it be for you?
Well, there'd be 2 things. I would enforce hits from behind, and the other thing I would enforce no over and back in 3-on-3. I think it's one of the more exciting parts of your game that's becoming too boring when nothing happens by circling back too often in the neutral zone.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm getting to dread shootouts. I don't like shootouts the way I once did. I know you have to end a game prompt at a certain point, but the shootout to me is getting a little bit stale. So if you could eliminate that, more action, and change the overtime rules, I'd be good with that. Question number 4 for you. Shane Bieber surprised us all a little bit last night, I would think, announcing he's going to return to the Jays, opting back in. If you were a free agent, where do you think the Jays rank in terms of being a desirable place to play?
Oh, it's right up there, man. You've got an ownership group that's willing to spend money. You live in you get to live in a major market that has, like you're playing baseball in the summertime in Toronto. Are you kidding me? Like, look at the outdoors. Not that you're home a lot, but because you're playing all the time. But yeah, Toronto's going to be right up there. It's a brand new renovated facility. They got all the bells and whistles. I would say Toronto in MLB is probably top 5 places for lots of people. Like, you got to remember, there are some Americans who don't want to go there, sure, but lots of the European players, they don't mind it at all. That doesn't really matter. So I would say probably right now, today, because of how much they're spending and the fact that they just were a competitive team and they got a superstar in Guerrero, right? They got young Trey Savage. They got pieces around them. I'd say Toronto's probably top 5 right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially just what happened, the youth movement that they do have there, the room they've created. Like, I think that played a huge role in Bieber deciding to opt back in and return to the club. Obviously, being within one game of a World Series certainly doesn't hurt either. I think there's a lot of things going for Toronto and being on a national scale. Like, I know Springer's a big name, but it'd be tough to be getting working with a national bank the way he does in the States. In Canada, I mean, you can have that opportunity to do those sorts of things. So I'm with you. I have them quite high, top 5, top 3. And hopefully we'll see if it pays off for them this offseason. Final question for you. Actor Sam Rockwell turns 57 years old today. I did not know he was in so many movies, Gregor. Of all of them, and his role can be big or small, what would be your top couple favorites?
Go ahead.
Well, I found out he was a punk in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1990 version, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was in the Foot Clan. So that one stands out to me for sure. And he was also in The Green Mile, which we watched in Movie Watch a while ago. And
dude, he was the bad cop.
Yeah, and dislike him, but great movie. So I'd have those two up there.
No, he's one of them. I shouldn't say he was the bad cop. That was a little midget guy was even worse, but he was one of the better ones. I'm gonna go with Jojo Rabbit, and also The Bad Guys, because he's in both of The Bad Guys and The Bad Guys 2, and that's a pretty good film. So yeah, those are the ones I'll go with. So I'm sure he's The Best of Enemies. What's another Sam Rockwell movie that I can think of? The Seven Psychopaths. Right?
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh yeah. Conviction, he was in as well. Also the Assassination of Jesse James. I like that movie. But I like country movies. So yeah, he's been in, you're right. Like, he's not necessarily like the star of a lot of the movies, but he's, you know what? He's good in his role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
you need those guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No issue with it at all. So yeah, he's been, when you've had that many movies and for that many times, like, he's obviously had a pretty good career. So there's no doubt in my mind about that at all. So. Hey, Gregor, European players in the Jays, who? All of them? Oh, no, Darren, there's there's quite a few American players on that team, right? So they're not all Europeans, other countries. No, there's some, yes, but not all. 354. Hey, guys, you ever see him dance on Jimmy Fallon? Hilarious. Oh, dude, that guy can really move. Like, yeah, I've seen Sam Rockwell's dance. Like, that guy has got some unreal moves. Are you kidding me? Like, he should be like a dance. Now, who knows? Just because you can dance, maybe you can't be a dance instructor. It's the old adage, just because you play doesn't mean you can coach. But he is Cons. Have you seen that video of him dancing?
Is he the guy who dances every time he's on the show? Like, he just comes out and dances?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, but he's got great moves. Yeah, great moves.
I've seen the compilations. Yeah, really good.
The other one, what about him in The White Lotus? Is
he in the latest season?
Dude, yeah. It had the most
we can't talk about
awkward scene. It was so funny. Like, it was just so offside and so funny. And then, like, I couldn't do it but you see those actors who try to go on the hot ones, right? With the hot sauce, and they kind of talk like, oh my God, like, I don't know, like, good for them to do it. Because you know what's coming, though. So I don't have any empathy for them. Like, what do you mean? This is hot sauce? No, I'm going on a show about hot sauce. Of course it's going to get hot. But he's pretty funny on there. But that scene in White Lotus, man, that was...
Walton Goggins' reactions to it. It's so good,
it's
too.
Unbelievable. Like, I wonder how many takes they had to do in that scene. That's what I want to know, is how many takes did it take to do that scene? Because if anybody who's watched White Lotus, you'll know what scene we're talking about. Because I can't summarize it without getting in trouble. I couldn't do it.
You can't even really tease,
no, you have to watch, you have to watch it. And then it's then you have a beer with your friends and talk about the scene and be like, what the hell is going on there? It's wild. Absolutely wild. Speaking of wild, very excited. Rich Winter's coming up next in the business of sport. And he's able to land us deputy commissioner of the NHL, Bill Daly, and the great part about business of sports is we always talk about, how do you get into certain jobs? There's a job out there. Somebody has to be the deputy commissioner. How did Bill become the deputy commissioner? He's got a pretty unique career path. We'll get to that. Don't worry. We will at the end. We'll talk some NHL with Bill and, some things that you look at through the league. But I think it's going to be a fascinating conversation coming up with Bill Daly in the business of sports. But first, let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca Quality Markets. 2 locations, Sherwood Park and Edmonton. If you're looking for great food, well, they have it. They also have over 200 chef-prepared meals for you to choose from. Can make eating healthy easier. Loca.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
5 games on the ice tonight in the NHL, kicking off with the Leafs and the Mammoth. The Blues in Washington, Flames host the Jackets. Canucks taking on the Blackhawks, and the Sharks in Seattle. In the association, busy night, 11 games, including the Jazz in Detroit, the Cavs hosting the 76ers, Wizards in Boston, Knicks host the Timberwolves, Pelicans taking on the Mavs, Lakers host the Spurs, and the Warriors in Sacramento. OKC in action, still undefeated, taking on the Portland Trailblazers. In the WHL, the Oil Kings are in action. They'll take on Red Deer down at Rogers Place. Puck drop at 7. According to TSN's Dave Naylor, the Ottawa Redblacks hiring Ryan Dinwiddie to be their next head coach and GM. He spent the last season with the Argos, winning 2 Grey Cups. In the AJHL, Grand Prairie in Canmore, while Old will host Fort Mac. Both games at 7. And collegiate basketball down south, number 3 Creighton taking on South Dakota. That gets going at 6. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by longtime NHL agent Rich Winter and NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly in another edition of the Business of Sport. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
More fruit?
Check.
Satisfying texture?
Check.
3 amazing new recipes?
Check.
Let Booster Juice bowl you over with something completely different. 3 new acai bowls, loaded with delicious toppings including bee pollen, cacao nibs, and shredded coconut. Piled high on top of a refreshing blend of authentic acai, straight from Brazil. Spoon?
Check.
Booster Juice, Canada's original juice and acai bowl bar.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Increase your lean muscle mass and fight age-related energy decline with Regenerlife Creatine. This high-quality third-party tested supplement helps replenish your body's energy stores to support your resistance training. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic. Low Tide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2. Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
It's your last chance to grab tickets for the Jason Gregor Pizza Pig Out, presented by GS Construction. Thursday, November 6th at the Canadian Ice House, indulge in unlimited pizza from amazing local pizzerias while you help raise some dough for Kids Sport. Then vote for your favorite slice to help crown the People's Choice Award winners. Tickets to join Edmonton's biggest and best adult pizza party are just $30. Head to jasongregorpizzapigout.com for more details and to buy tickets.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and if you're serious about selling your used RV, then I'm serious about getting you the money you want. You're not the only one who wants to spend the winter in selling mode rather than storage mode, and we're happy to help.
People come to No Bull RV 12 months of the year, right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. A used RV is one of a kind, which means when the one you're looking for comes along, customers quickly pounce on it. So if you've outgrown your RV or you're looking to upsize, downsize, or just turn it into cash, come see us at No Bull RV.
You have to be serious about selling, though, right, Rick?
Better believe it, Bob. This is for people who truly want their RV gone. If we're going to store your RV for free all winter, it has to be priced to sell. And that's why customers come to No Bull 12 months of the year. Because you never know when the perfect used RV is going to arrive. And if it's here, it won't last long.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer, to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis, to post-surgical knees and hips, we fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. This is the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. A big thank you of all the Stingray stations, the online listening numbers in October of Sports 1440. Biggest increase. So we keep getting lots of new listeners and users. So thank you very much for listening and watching the show. We very much appreciate it. So thank you very much. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. So get in the game, use the promo code at Gregor50. And that will give, when you make a $50 deposit, they will match it. PlayAlberta.ca. Very simple. So coming up in a few moments, we're going to be joined by a gentleman who's been working in the NHL since 1996. He is currently the deputy commissioner and the chief legal officer of the NHL, Bill Daly. And but first, we welcome in co-host in the business of sport, longtime NHL player agent, Rich Winter joins us. Rich, how you doing?
Good. It's been an awesome week. Yeah, lots going on in my life. It's fun.
How what was your first interaction with Bill?
Bill came, I believe it was his first event as deputy commissioner. He came to watch the Edmonton Outdoor Classic, and we just got together in my office and visited, got to know each other a little bit.
That was back in, what was that, 2003?
I can't remember,
I think
like last week. So yeah, probably. Let's go with that.
Yeah. I think it was 2003. Because he was named the first NHL deputy commissioner in 2005, according to his Wikipedia page. And I think and then he got the Lester Patrick Trophy back in 2014. He came into the NHL as a senior VP of legal affairs because obviously he's a lawyer, has a background in law, and that's how he kind of got his way in. So he's going to join us. We'll talk about where he got his degree and everything else, and kind of working his way up. And it is unique. A lot of people think he's going to be the successor to Gary Bettman when he leaves the NHL, which who knows when that'll be. But it'll be fascinating to talk to Bill coming up. He's going to join us here in the next few minutes. A few other things that go on in the NHL, like during the season, Rich, when you've got all your guys signed now. Obviously, you have negotiations with guys who are able to have contract extensions, but is like November a slow time or a slower time for agents?
It's really slow. It's reserved to things like literally when I walked in, young Colton White, a defenseman with the New Jersey Devils, got called up. He hasn't been up for 2.5 years. I mean, so right now it's not much happening. I mean, we're really happy with Emmett Finney playing in Detroit. So you're really watching games and just sharing some of the excitement. For the most part, it's been pretty good news. We got Emmett Finney playing up. We got Adam Ernie got a contract after PTO. Young Colton just got called up, so we'll see if he'll play in the next few games.
Like your experienced veteran guys, like not much changes with them. Like they're signed.
We got Wyatt Kaiser, who we spent a lot of work with last year. We should have Wyatt on because he's a really bright young guy who can talk to what he's done to his game. He's leading the team or close to leading the team in ice time because he's just developed incredible. He chopped an 1 3/4 inches off his sticks. To see him just blossom into the player we thought he was, that's all that's happening this time of year, right? You're watching your guys. It's like I always say we're like the Sutter family times 5, right? Like we just watch our kids play, right? And it's like they're playing against. So you try and figure out. I remember when Peter Bonder was playing, he was a sniper getting 50 goals, and he says, "Who do you cheer for when I'm playing against Dominic Hasek?" Back then, I'd say, well, what I cheer for is for you guys to get 85 shots on goal and then you to score the game winner. 1-0 shoot, 1-0. Like, so, but that's kind of the way you look at it. So it's just fun this time of year. I mean, I watch a lot of games, check in on things and,
yeah, like you root for individuals that you represent, right?
Yeah. I could care less what happens to teams.
Yeah. Now, except when it's in the playoffs, then if you have a guy,
but then I don't really, I cheer for the
win.
guy because he's in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
And
Obviously you want his team to win. So it's kind of for his team, right?
Well, yeah, it's a little bit of both because if he wins, that's usually results in a bump in salary. You're more pulling for them to play well. Like last year, every time Calvin Pickard gets in, it's pretty exciting, right? Given the trajectory he's been on and the work he's done to get here. So it's playoffs. Again, but you're cheering for your guy.
How closely do you guys follow like the injury rehab of a guy like Zach Hyman? Because obviously we know like he's been skating with the team. He went on the road trip. Normally you never go on the road if you're not close to playing. So the fact that he went on the road is a telltale sign that he's close, whether it's going to be Saturday or Monday. The coach did say that, he probably thinks, by their next road trip, which would be a week today, for sure they expect him to be on the trip and playing. So how often do you talk to injured guys?
It depends on the guy. Everybody's different. Zach's pretty self-contained. He's so busy with junior hockey teams he owns and in other, technology companies and stuff. So he's pretty busy. He's got 3 boys, which at their age are, I had 4 girls. That's like having, 1 boy.
Yeah.
And so he's got that going on. And we don't get that involved usually at the back end because you assume, I think generally that the rehab's pretty good. We get involved at the front end, second opinions, trying to make sure they got the right guy. Are we using the hip guy in New York that we've had 4 successful surgeries from? Are we using the guys in Denver? So you get involved because every player likes a second opinion, right? We get 2 quotes on our, we get our house painted. You probably want to get a couple of quotes on what's going to happen with your rest of your entire career.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where we play a role in, making sure we get those things done. And then sometimes in the rehab space, because the rehab, it only sort of plays into the surgery, right? Like you get a really good doctor who has a really good, protocol in terms of that kind of stuff. So you spend, quite a bit of time there, but not much in the middle.
Awesome. Well, I can understand it. Out of sight, you don't want to get in the way if there's nothing to get in the way of. Now let's welcome to the show. He is the NHL Deputy Commissioner. He's also their Chief Legal Officer. He's been working with the NHL since 1996, when his first job was the Senior VP of Legal Affairs. Bill Daly joins us. Bill, welcome to the show. How are you, man? We might. I think, Bill, you might have yourself muted. I'm not sure because Conzo, you got him up. Can we hear him? Yeah, I think you might be muted, Bill. We'll figure that out in a second. And I can see you. I can see your mouth moving, but can't hear you. So we'll get that sorted out momentarily because we know he's there. He's connected. So
well, Bill would tell you everybody in the NHL office was hope that my mouth would be moving and they wouldn't hear anything. So it's really a sort of a reverse play on.
In Bill's role, do you guys ever go tete-a-tete as an agent? Like
not really. You know,
Is this good?
Global stuff, and it's always good to have a relationship with people at the league office. They rely on us sometimes to do a little bit of reconnaissance what's going on in our world and vice versa. But no, I mean, Bill's heavy lifting is done with Marty Walsh now. Right?
Yeah.
It's not really done.
No, we don't have to do much. I think we got Bill now. Bill, can you hear us? Can we hear you?
I can hear you guys.
Perfect. Yeah, we can hear you now. We're rocking and rolling. Awesome.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I'm
Bill,
lucky to have a star of our IT department up here helping me.
Okay, perfect. Well, Bill, in the business of sport, it's kind of like what it is. We like to talk about the business of it. And we talk about all different roles in the National Hockey League because, well, everybody dreams to be a player as a kid. The reality is most of us can never get to the NHL. And before we get to your current role, I want to talk about just kind of your path when you got hired in 1996. Obviously, you went to law school. You graduated at Dartmouth in 1986. When you graduated, like, were you someone who wanted to be heavily involved in sports? Was that your plan?
So I guess it was my hope.
Okay.
I was a crazy sports fan growing up. I played a whole bunch of different sports. I played collegiately college football for 4 years at Dartmouth. So I always had a passion for sports and wanted to end up there. But you don't always get what you want. So I got fortunate along the way. I went to work for a big New York law firm who happened to represent the National Football League and later on the National Basketball Association and the National Hockey League. And I got myself onto those matters and developed relationships with people inside the league. And ultimately got the opportunity when my predecessor here at the National Hockey League, Jeffrey Pash, chose to take a job in the National Football League and actually just recently retired. But he was a mentor of mine. He's a couple years older than me. But when he left, I was interviewed to replace him, and I was fortunate enough to get the job. So that's how I got to the National Hockey League.
So as the senior VP of legal affairs for those first few years, what was your main responsibility?
It's a great question. I mean, one of the things I had to do right away, and it was a daunting task, was, I was an antitrust litigator or a competition law litigator in private practice. And at the time, in the mid 1990s, all the professional sports leagues' collective bargaining agreements were negotiated really as products of an antitrust litigation. So what would happen is the players and the unions would allow the collective bargaining agreement to expire, and then they'd sue under our competition laws in the United States for antitrust law violations for the continued imposition of the restraints that we had negotiated with the unions. Okay. Ultimately, that became passé in the sense that the Supreme Court of the United States ultimately ruled that as long as there's a collective bargaining relationship in existence and active, that everything that is done within the context of that labor relationship is immune from antitrust scrutiny. You can't be an antitrust, it can be a labor law violation, but it can't be an antitrust law violation. So I got out right in time because that was my niche in private practice. And the Supreme Court ruled in 1996, and I left for the National Hockey League later that year. So when I got here, I really had to learn a whole bunch of other kind of legal areas of the law, because when you're operating a sports league, there's just so many different areas and boxes you really have to check. You have the good fortune, you have very capable staff here that I inherited from Jeff, but also had the access to outside lawyers who were experts in the field, in whatever field we needed to be experts in. I will say, when I got to the National Hockey League, got thrown right into, we were finishing up an expansion process, the 4-team expansion in the end of the 90s, which added Columbus and Atlanta and Minnesota, and who am I missing? Nashville. So we finished up that process, and then we actually negotiated an extension to our collective agreement in conjunction with that expansion. And it was a collective agreement that wasn't working well for the league and its owners. So I really spent the first, 8 years of my career at the National Hockey League focused primarily on labor matters and kind of fixing the collective bargaining agreement, which ultimately we were able to do, even though it was a painful process in 2004, 2005.
Bill, I know where your office is, and I know where Gary's office is, at least in the old building. I've been there for a while. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with Gary Bettman, because I don't think people, we get him booed when they gives a cup away, but I don't think that people really realize his passion for the game, the work he puts in. What would surprise people about your relationship with Gary Bettman and the qualities that you see he brings to work every day?
Well, one, he's an incredibly hard worker. 2, he's incredibly smart. 3, he's incredibly loyal. And 4, he has the right priorities. He obviously representing the league and representing the owners is a passion of his, and has been his professional career for over 30 years. But what's most important to him is his family, his wife of almost 50 years, I think. His children, his 3 children, and I think he has 9 grandchildren now.
I know
that's a passion of his, and he always makes time, to the extent he can, to prioritize his relationships with them. So that's something I really admire. He's certainly been a mentor to me, and as I said, very, very loyal. So it's been we've had a good relationship. We're not the same people by any
stretch. Very different. Yeah.
Have different personalities, but I very mutually respectful personalities, and I've really enjoyed working with him, and I've learned a lot from him.
And he's got a dry sense of humor, and he's pretty funny actually. I've spent a little bit of time with him over the years, and he's not shy to say what he thinks, as you know, and but he's got a pretty sharp wit, and he can be pretty funny at times.
Well, a very sharp wit for sure. And I think, in particularly in recent years, I think the business has been successful. There's we've been growing. The game on the ice has never been better. I think he's very comfortable in the job he does every day. And I think, you're right. There was I think there's been a lot of misperceptions on Gary Bettman over 33 years. But I really believe, and this is true even in Canada, where I think most of the misperception originated. I think he's proven himself, and I think he's gotten past that to a large extent. And while people still love to boo him, they don't know why they're booing him. And I don't think it's even personal anymore.
No,
it started out as being personal. I don't think it's personal anymore.
Although this year, I think he did pretty well. It wasn't bad this year.
Gary almost likes it now. If you don't boom, he's like, "What the hell is going on here?" It's kind of become
it's like the guy in the visitor in your building. I mean, if you're booing the visitor in your building, he's probably done something right.
Yeah, that's very true. Bill Daly joins us. So, Bill, now we move on to your current role. You're the deputy commissioner of the National Hockey League. So I'm assuming you got a lot of responsibilities. Can you kind of outline what is the deputy commissioner on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis? What are you overseeing?
Well, I think the best part about my job is it changes from day to day. There's a lot of different things I'm responsible for. There's a lot of different projects I have ongoing at the same time. I mean, as a practical matter, I'm technically responsible for everything Gary's responsible for. And I think we divvy that up and allocate that pretty well. There are certain things that he's far more outward facing on than I am, and vice versa. I would say, the niches that I've probably carved and are most significant for me are labor relationships, both with players and with the officials. I had both of those kind of collective bargaining relationships. I'm probably the chief liaison, for lack of a better term, to kind of outside hockey entities, whether it be international hockey, the International Ice Hockey Federation. I've worked very closely with for many years, almost 30 years now. The CHL, the USHL, the USA Hockey, Hockey Canada. I sit on the the board of directors for the Hockey Hall of Fame. So there's a variety of outside relationships I manage. I manage our relationships with our coaches. I manage our relationships with our trainers. I manage our relationships with our doctors. I chair a lot of joint committees that we have with the Players Association that oversee the health and safety of players. Some commercial aspects of our relationships with the players as well. So it's a lot of facets to the job.
Well, and Bill, I talk to a lot of those people that you deal with in that capacity in other organizations, and everybody speaks very highly about your level of respect. I've always found the most respectful thing that people don't generally do in hockey is return phone calls. For young kids that are listening to this that have an aspiration, because like you and I weren't good enough to play, that may want, what do you think your strength is, and what advice would you give to a young man that's, like you were, like I was, looking at a career in sports off the ice or off the field? What's your strength, and what do you feel you've really learned that would be of value to, maybe some of us old guys too?
So I kind of rephrase how I'm going to answer the question. I mean, I obviously get asked that question a lot, and it's very cliche-ish. But I really do go back to kind of hard work and the ethics of hard work. And I would add to that, if you're passionate about that work, then you do it better. So it's a combination of the effort itself, but also the quality of the effort. And so hard work and passion for your job, I think, are two key ingredients to being successful. Look, I'll be the first to admit, and I think it's probably true for most people who've gotten involved in sports and always wanted to work in sports, that you get a lot of breaks along the way. You have to get fortunate. You have to get bounces. And I've been very fortunate along the way to get a number of bounces that have gone my way. But I also like to think that you put yourself in a position to get those bounces by doing certain things and working hard. And I do think that's been something for me that's been very important.
Well, and I think you do well, and I think a lot of people do it. And Gary does it surprisingly well. I mean, I probably have less trouble getting a hold of Gary Bettman if I'm inclined to want to have a conversation with him than I would perhaps a general manager in the league. I think both of you have been very respectful, and I think when people see Gary from a distance, I think they'd be surprised about that. But I used to joke with players. You probably don't know this, Bill, but a number of times I would bring players to the NHL office, because when you're 55 at the time and kids like 22, what do you do in New York City outside of going for dinner? We'd go over to the NHL offices. I think it would surprise Gary. I would always tell the players, like, if Gary's in, how long do you think it'll take him to find us, right? And inevitably he would find out that Joe Vasicek and I were in the office, and he'd invite us in, and he'd make a little hay joking at my expense at times, and which I enjoyed. But he's very personable, and both of you have been, I think Gary's surprisingly respectful for people that don't know him, but I think that's something that young kids, and many general managers have to let hear. Bill, I can't tell you how many times I've had guys call me back and say, well, why didn't you tell me about, I didn't know Hasek was available. I didn't know this guy was available. And I would say, well, I called you twice, and usually don't call you just, to talk about my dinner. And a lot of guys miss a lot of opportunities, but I can't imagine, Bill, that either you or Gary have missed much by not showing that level of respect, which I think is foundational, don't you think? I mean, I was taught that in a small town. I mean, you just respect people, you call them back, you treat them with respect, and I think that's something that's really important, and you do that well.
I agree. I totally agree. And Rich, you haven't been hopefully you get to New York soon so you can come see our new offices, because they're beautiful. And we do often hold court with players going through the New York area. We have I guess it's a player, it's kind of like a player orientation 101 where they come through the league office. They do a lot of media for us on the NHL Network and some content preps. But then they, when we're available, they spend some time with Gary and I. We have really good, candid conversations. I think it's valuable for us. I know it's valuable for us. Hopefully they get a kick out of it too. It's in most situations now we're 3 times as old as the people we're talking to.
I know.
But it comes with age.
Well, I don't think of myself as old, but I will next time we get to New York. I only have Sam Carrick on the Rangers, but if your family are a big maple syrup fans, I'll make sure Sam brings over the brothers have created a maple syrup company that is probably the best maple syrup I've ever had. So it's kind of nice. We got a lot of clients doing a lot of unique things, and I'll make sure that we get over and see. I haven't seen you for a while. It's been probably a couple of years now with COVID and all the other things going on, but things have changed dramatically. Maybe after the break we talk about it, but the relationship with the Players Association, I know you've probably got to know Marty Walsh a lot better than I have, but the whole orientation has changed. And I think it's a pretty exciting change for our sport,
Like Bill, was that a major focus for you guys to become more of partners? Because at times there seemed to be, from an outsider's perspective, a lot of pushing and pulling rather than pulling together between the NHL and the PA.
100%, and it has been. You know what? In fairness to Gary, though, it was always an objective. We always wanted to build trust. We always wanted to build a relationship. For a period of time, we had a lot of resistance on the other side, and some would say, understandably so. So you have to break through those barriers, and I think Gary's done a remarkable job in doing that. Well, I'll leave Marty aside. Don Fear was his predecessor for, I don't know, 9 years, 10 years. Rich might know better than I do. And Don came from a labor relationship that was very adversarial in baseball. I don't think he entered the job probably with not a lot of trust and not a lot of affection for either me or Gary or any of our owners. But I think over the course of 9 or 10 years, Gary was able to build that trust, build that relationship. It's not as good as it is with Marty, but it was a good working relationship, and we got a lot done when Don was at the Players Association. So I give the commissioner a lot of credit for breaking through those barriers.
Bill, for you mentioned that you work with the IIHF and WHL and CHL and everybody like that. I know for fans and the whole league, getting the Olympics back is massive. It'll be, coming up on 14 years when the NHL gets back to it. Can you give us an update? You read online and they're talking about the arena and everything like that. And I know that in previous Olympics, it literally got, finalized a week or two beforehand. And I know it's kind of out of your control in one sense, because, you guys don't run the Olympics, but, how confident are you that everything will go smooth with that facility once we get to February?
Confidence probably the wrong term. Hopeful is a much better term. And I honestly can tell you, I don't know much more than what you read online. We do get weekly updates now on kind of the status of the arena, and they're not all positive ones. The arena was supposed to be done. Actually, it was supposed to be turned over already to the organizing committee in mid-October. That hasn't happened. It's not going to happen until December. We're supposed to have a test event in December, which isn't going to happen in December. That's not going to happen until January. I still am hopeful everything gets done and gets done right, and that we're not putting anybody at risk by playing hockey in an entirely new venue that has no history. But I suppose when I look back at our experience in the Olympics, it's not that atypical to how these things go, and the IOC hasn't had any problems of significance in making these things work. So, knock on wood, I hope we won't have any problems.
If you can do one favor for me, make sure that navy blue paint they lose in Salt Lake City that caused Tommy Salo to misread the puck can be painted white this time. It ruined a dear friend of mine's career. So maybe because there's not very much advertising in the Olympic buildings, certainly above the bowl. And it was interesting how no one had given any thought to that. And of Poor Tommy missed a puck, lost in the blue paint, and next thing you know, his career was over. He lost his confidence. So
Yeah, recall it well.
Yeah, that was tough.
Bill, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. I got lots to discuss more about the NHL. Fascinating conversation with the Deputy Commissioner of the NHL, Bill Daly, here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca.
Noodle, 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 noods. Noodle, 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 noods. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Troll will load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better at On the Rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts. And play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocksyeg.com.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Increase your lean muscle mass and fight age-related energy decline with Regenerlife Creatine. This high-quality third-party tested supplement helps replenish your body's energy stores to support your resistance training. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Get Black Friday prices now at the Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off, and with every mattress purchase, you're entered for a chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Basketball show turns 10, and we welcome a new generation of basketball talk. Hoop City with Paul Sir airs Saturday mornings from 10 till noon on Sports 1440. From grassroots to NBA to the Olympics, we've got you covered.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. It's not lost on me that this radio ad competes with a lot of other dealerships on the air. So what sets us apart? Honesty. At Northgate, we believe in giving you the very best price we can with the most value possible. We aren't giving away free trips or paying off your credit cards, but it is my promise you will get exactly what you paid for every time. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play score and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.434, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Rich Winter, Bill Daly joins us, of course. Bill is the Deputy Commissioner of the National Hockey League and joining us on the business of sports. And Bill, we want to get into kind of a lot of the stuff. We've got a lot of hockey fans listening. And the one I want to start with, because when I mentioned they were coming on, this seemed to be the hottest topic from fans. And I wanted to get, because I don't know the answer. So I wanted to talk. A lot of them are frustrated with all of the blackouts that are happening now because of streaming. Like I understand in Canada, Sportsnet is the national broadcaster. You have regional right TVs. They pay different. I understand how that works. The internet is totally different. It's kind of new. What do you say to those that are frustrated about all the online blackouts? And is there a solution or something that will come in the next agreement?
So it really, that's a tough question to answer in that degree of generality, because I have to know exactly what's leading to the blackouts to be helpful in resolving it. I do think, and this is true in Canada as well, that hockey has never been more available to more people than it is currently. You have to go to a lot of different platforms, a lot of distribution sources, and sometimes you have to pay money to do it. But it's never been more accessible. So I'd have to understand kind of the nature of the blackout. Obviously,
okay, I got a few examples that were given. So I'm reading what the tag. I live in Arizona, Vegas, Colorado, and Utah are all blacked out, and I have no local option to watch any of them. And then another guy says he lives in Moorhead, Minnesota, and but he can watch the Jets, but cannot watch the Wild on ESPN Plus due to the blackout rule.
So what I would say is that those people are outside the television territories of the local broadcasts.
Yeah.
Those broadcasts are available to them on their out of market package, both online and any cable operator or DirecTV. So they're available. It's just sometimes you have to figure out how to get them.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd have to pay for it essentially, which I get how you can't ask your rights holders to pay big money for the rights. And then
so if we start televising, I mean, the world's changing, right? It's evolving, and ultimately, virtually everything is going to be distributed nationally, both in Canada and the United States. That's going to happen. I can't tell you when it's going to happen, but right now, the local broadcasters are paying a lot of money for the exclusivity to televise the games they pay for locally. And they have to be protected against people free riding on those telecasts.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I wanted to ask you about like a rule change. I know that you guys changed the rule of overtime after 10 years. You went from 4-on-4 to 3-on-3. And I think a big reason why is because you were getting way too many shootouts. Like shootouts dropped from 170 to 107 when that rule changed. So clearly the 3-on-3 worked. This year, I know it's early, but this year, they're on pace for the most shootouts we've seen in a long, long time, and the most overtime games ever. There's tons of overtime games. There's way more shootouts for it. So let's say at the end of the year, you're like, okay, you know what? We're back to having too many shootouts. We don't really like that, so we'll look at options. And like you could implement a no over and back, for instance. How would that go, Bill? Like what would be the mechanism to have something like that change?
So the mechanism starts at the general manager level. And it's discussed frequently, by the way. And, the change to the 3-on-3, as you said, was done to reduce the number of shootouts in the game. There was not an appetite for eliminating shootouts. We like an occasional shootout. And with respect to your stats from this year, I haven't reviewed the stats from this year in particular. But I can tell you that they have trended upwards, not downwards. In other words, I think we had 75% of our overtime games were decided in overtime last year. That was the highest percentage ever. So I would say that, using a month sample to suggest that we have a shootout problem again is probably not something that's going to be very persuasive to our general managers. We do have a general managers meeting coming up next week. My guess is the managers will be updated on those stats, and we'll see if there's any appetite for dialogue on it. Generally, they don't deal with rule change items. One is we don't like to change rules in mid-season, obviously.
Yeah.
So two, we normally deal with rule change proposals and consideration in the March meeting of the general managers, which is done in Florida right after the trade deadline every year. Yes, it's been raised before. The over and back might be one tweak that we might consider making. I don't think it's ever been close to carrying a majority of the view, but it's certainly an idea that's out there and it's been considered.
Phil, I have a couple business questions because it's, I think we all want to make sure that the game flourishes in every market we're in, and I think they've done a really good job of making that happen. But one of the frustrations I think for fans happens, when you hire the wrong guy. It happens in every business. So you hire a GM and he signs 4 or 5 players to the wrong deals, some of them very long term. No, we had compliance buyouts when we moved from CBA to CBA. Has there ever been any talk about giving an owner every once in a while the ability to buy out a player without it affecting the salary cap, just to address the very, serious problem that can result from a couple of bad deals that could stick a fan base with a really tough set of circumstances around their team for 4 or 5 years?
I can't say there's been serious consideration to that. I mean, look, I think I can certainly understand the frustration and a fan's frustration in those types of scenarios. Having said that, the general managers and the quality of the general managers and the agents never cease to amaze me in terms of coming up with new ways to take advantage of around those rules and to create that flexibility that you're looking for. And it's our job to try to close down those, close those loops and close down those opportunities. But there's always a new way, and I think for the most part, our general manager has been pretty successful in getting around the handcuffs that sometimes the salary cap can create.
Yeah, it sometimes feels like some teams don't even have a cap. That's another conversation, but
that's another conversation for sure.
The other thing that is sort of troubling up here in Canada is given, what's the thinking around the tax differential? I look at it now. I quite frankly don't think Canadian teams have much of a chance to win, simply because when you look at it, they're going to need a piece or two at the trade deadline, generally to push them over the top. And if a player has a no trade clause or as an unrestricted free agent the previous summer, they're going to gravitate to the place where there's beaches, warm weather, winning, low taxes. And what's the thinking behind it? I've sort of come to the point where I think there should be some thought, at least to the financial differential between, I know Gary hasn't been for that, at least publicly, but what's the discussion around that? Because I think fans in Canada are frustrated knowing their teams have a very difficult time attracting players because of the advantages, especially some of the Southern teams have, not only because of weather, but because they're winning too.
I'll start by saying there has been discussion. There has been consideration. Having said that, I think a lot of these variables that exist as between markets have existed forever as between markets. And as well as anybody, Rich, that players make decisions for lots of different reasons, and they're not necessarily all financial. A lot are family, a lot are education, a lot are weather conditions, a lot can have to do with anything. They can have to do with going back to their hometown, in which case the Canadians have a market advantage. They also get paid, as you know, in U.S. dollars, and pay a lot of their expenses in Canadian dollars, which is a huge financial benefit for players who play in Canada. So I think it's a tough argument to get your arms around. But I would say, I won't say most importantly, but very importantly, I'm not sure what a solution could be. I don't think you can have varying caps applying to various teams based on cost of living or a tax situation. It's just impossible to calibrate it that way. So
I think the only thing that would make sense is maybe the tax calibration. But at the end of the day, you're probably more than aware of this as I am. There is a thing called a retirement compensation arrangement. So players, especially American players, they can actually structure their financial affairs so their effective after-tax burden isn't 50 plus like it would be in Ontario. It's only 25. But there's some requirements and where you're going to live after to take advantage of that. But so there is some advantages. But yeah, it's a hard one because I do think we're disadvantaged. I think a lot of people don't think, Bill, this comes into play way more than people think. The players are on the road, and where Canadian teams suffer a little bit because it's tough for the wives to stay home in markets like Edmonton. I love it here. I live here. I've got 5 kids, and Gary Bettman and I are tied on the 9 grandchildren. I really like it here, but they hear about how cold it is, and I think a lot of people forget that the wives have a pretty big influence in here because they've got a lot to take care of when the kids, when the husbands are on the road, the kids are busy, and if they grew up in wherever, California, they not going to be too keen on coming here. So there's just lots of challenges that you can't manage, but the tax differential seems to me to be one that at least should be given some consideration at some point. We'll see how it plays out. But Bill, in the past, Florida had Florida's had the weather, but they didn't have the success. So when you marry those two together, I guess maybe it's unfair to pummel.
And that's why I'd also point to the fact that we've had a successful team in Las Vegas. a successful team in Tampa and a successful teteam in Florida, and all of a sudden we have a problem.
Well, that's where the problem came from.
Yeah, I wonder what the which is first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, but it is one that at this time in the league, I mean, Canadian teams generally are going to be very hard pressed to compete against those teams. Now they probably can compete against many of the other teams, so it's not league wide, but it's a challenge to build a winner here. But you did see it. I know, like Connor's a perfect example here in Edmonton. You know, his wife's got businesses in town. I mean, and think about it. He's lived his entire adult life in Edmonton.
Yeah, but I think sometimes, Rich, people forget Connor McDavid lives in Canada. He's a Canadian. He gets paid in American money. So, well, it's 12.5. That's like 18 million.
Yeah.
So if you look at after tax, he's still taking home as much
But I
as he
don't
would
think
in
that
others.
matters. Like,
But I don't think it gets talked about enough that that's an element that actually benefits the Canadian teams.
Maybe. I don't think it's as big a deal because the expenditures going out aren't anywhere near as big as these big contracts. But at the end of the day, Bill's right when there's family reasons. And right now, Lauren and Connor McDavid are completely embedded in the community. She's got a number of businesses. They've got all their friends here, and he truly loves his teammates. And one thing people forget about Bill, I was with the head Calvin Pickard we went out for lunch the other day, and he was telling me that he apologized for being late because they ran to work. Right? These guys live so close together in Edmonton. You know, there may be from I can figure, maybe outside of Derek Ryan. I mean, last year, these players live about 5 minutes from each other. They're spending time together. They're bonded together. They got up because traffic's tough on Stony Plain Road, and Connor, Darnell Nurse, and Calvin ran to work. Like, it's just a great environment, and that's to some degree a competitive advantage if you get guys here. Getting them here is a challenge, but there's lots to like. The players that are here love it. Getting them here is a little more of a challenge.
And I realize they have good players, but the fact that Edmonton went 7 games in the Stanley Cup Final 2 years ago and 6 games last year, it gives me a little pause in concluding that Canadian teams are disadvantaged.
Yeah,
Well,
they just can't win the cup.
You got to win the lottery, Bill. You got to win the lottery.
Yeah.
You got to win the lottery.
Well, they've done that a number of times. I've helped.
Well, I do want. Now, it's funny you mentioned that because I know lots of Edmontonians know exactly where they were when you pulled over the gold card in 2015. And having been through it at all, like, what's your reaction as somebody who's like, you're independent, you work for the NHL, and you're like, oh, geez, he's going to Edmonton. Do you remember kind of what your initial reaction was when you found out it was Edmonton?
No, because I mean, I guess with my league hat on, and how long I've been here, I really don't distinguish between markets all that much. I really don't. I mean, honestly. I'm always happy for the team that wins. Edmonton at the time was in a long stretch of not making the playoffs, and this was a key to reversal of their fortunes. I think that's good for the league, right? The fact that the Oilers hadn't made the playoffs since 2006, that's a long run, and so good for them.
Bill, looking at the things that are maybe challenging for the league or not, like I see everybody talks about you always want to grow your game, and I 100% agree with that. But you have 25 of your organizations in the United States in lots of areas where there is lots of growth that is available in the United States, right? Like hockey's not yet at the other levels of the other sports. It's growing. I think Four Nations was a massive boon for the league. How do you, in your experience, how can you help hockey grow in the U.S.? It obviously has made leaps and bounds, but, to continue the growth there, because there's still lots of untapped fans in the USA.
I think there are. I mean, obviously, we want to promote participation at the grassroots level and sticks in hands as many as possible. Ice. Everybody knows that hockey has high barriers to entry, and we have to try to deal with those barriers to entry the best way we can. And I think the sport's been responsible in doing that through the formation of the Industry Growth Fund. A lot of investment we've made into local markets, local communities. And even our expansion teams and what they've done to help grow the exposure of hockey in markets that typically had no exposure in, whether it be Las Vegas, Seattle to a certain extent. But the Sun Belt movement itself. And Dallas will be the first to tell you that when the Stars moved to Dallas and made it a priority to build rinks surrounding Dallas, it was a boon to youth hockey in Dallas. So I think hockey can be successful wherever it is. I think sometimes it needs a little push to get that started, but I'm bullish on the future growth of hockey, or the continued growth of hockey in the United States in our communities.
Bill, and I think some of the answer is in the television production. We all hear that you take a guy to a game live, he'll fall in love, right? But it doesn't translate to the screen. Colin Wilson, who produced Avatar, a number of movies, I've got to know fairly well, and he finds it astonishing that the camera angles haven't been adapted to bring the same kind of action that he would create in a movie to the screen. We have the best product. Everybody, you go to a football game, it's like watching paint dry. It's horrible live, but they created a really robust television product. And it seems to me frustrating to me that we haven't yet figured out how to get enough camera angles. Because you say to a player, "Hey, Bill, is the game you're playing on the ice anything like I'm seeing on TV?" And they just start laughing. And I think that's something that we have to figure out, because if we get that action that's happening on the ice to translate to a digital screen, we'll pick up MMA fans, we'll pick up fans all over the place, because it's crazy what's going on. I sat at the Glass the other night, just at a AHL game with my grandkids. Oh my gosh, Bill, it's nuts down there. And we're not getting that to the uneducated fan or the uninitiated fan. And I think that's something we need to look at.
I agree with that. I think, and I think it's a priority for the league to embrace change, right? I think one of the things that has held this sport and our industry back traditionally has been traditional thinking, and failing to think outside the box. And I think we're committed to continuing to do that. We have that conversation every year. We have our rights holders come in, they make requests with respect to coverage. We tried some things in the Four Nations face-off last year that were unique and that were different, that were upgrades to what we've traditionally done, and we embraced them and rolled them out this year. I think we can continue to do that going forward. We can use our international best on best tournaments really as a test tube for things we can do to improve the game and improve the fans' consumption of the game. And it's what we have to do, because if we continue to stick to what has worked for us in the past, we're going to fall behind.
Well, if I could just add, I'll suggest one thing we might consider. I hate rewarding people for tanking, dumping everybody at the trade deadline. Why don't we, like they have in, my idea is like in Sweden, if you're in Sweden or Finland, these relegation games are nuts, right?
But the league was built that way.
No, but I think what they should do is because there's so many teams that miss the playoffs now. So why not create a relegation tournament for draft position? Screw the lottery, because it would create a completely different dynamic at the trade deadline. You can't trade Bill. You can't trade Jason. Like, we're going to be in for the first pick overall, right? Like, I just think that would create tons more games, incredible excitement in local markets that don't make the playoffs. Make them, let them, if they're bad, fine, they miss the playoffs, but don't reward them for completely being incompetent. I think there's something there, Bill, that, would create a ton of excitement, tons of extra games, tons of extra content. Just my thought. I think we should look at something a little different, and just don't, I think we're in a society where we don't really like rewarding failure. And my goodness, it's America, right? So let's make them fight for it. Let's make them win that first pick overall. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Well, I'm guessing that would be a tough sell. Plus, the Islanders, they were actually close to being a playoff team, and then they won the lottery and got Schaefer. So
Right.
You didn't reward the worst one.
I just like the idea of trying to think differently and creating a level of excitement at that time. You watch those relegation games. If you're in Sweden for a relegation game, holy smoke!
Yeah, I agree.
Now we're not relegating.
No.
I'm just thinking we should create a little bit of maybe it's just draft pick position moves a little bit, but you would create an incredible amount of excitement around for teams that, like Bill mentioned. What is it? 10, 15 years, the Oilers are out of the playoffs, man. Like, there would have been at least a little excitement around in May, which we didn't have.
No. Now, Bill, you're coming up on 30 years in the National Hockey League. What has been the biggest change that you think you've seen that we're like, no, I'm not talking like front of the scenes, that a lot of us would say, okay, we've expanded, there's way more teams now, and the salary cap, we know all those ones. But has there been something in the business side behind that has been surprising or eye-opening to you, and how the business has evolved in 30 years?
Well, I'd like Rich's view on that too, because I think games become a lot more professional, and I think at all levels, it's become a much bigger business. I think there's more professionalism and more skill at all positions within the game. I think most importantly, I think that's true at the ownership level as well. I think we have professional owners now. We have professional owners with the right motives in terms of why they're owning their franchises and what they're trying to accomplish for their communities and for their valuations. Quite frankly, when we make decisions now about expansion, it's not about how much can we charge for the franchise. It's, are we making the league better? Are we growing the value of the overall business proposition for the people who have invested in the business proposition? So I think the game has become far more professional than when I just started.
And I would add to that, Bill, because I think the salary cap, as much as I'd like to see more flexibility in it from my perspective, what it's done is it's changed the relationships between agents and general managers. Way less contentious. Arbitrations helped as well, because we just get that resolved by a third party. But when a general manager used to say to me, look, we don't have any more than $1 million. We knew that wasn't true. We know that if we held out long enough that we were getting our money. Now it's created an environment where there's not that tension. I still remember David Poyle flying across the country to sit in my office when Peter Bondra and Michael Pavanka were holding out years ago. Not holding out because they didn't have contracts, but they I think it's made us closer. And the relationships, I have probably the first 10 or 15 years of my career, I bet I could count one guy that I would consider I was really friendly with on the other side. But now I would think, for the most part, there's probably 25, 30 that I get along very well, because our conversations aren't battles anymore, because the table's been laid to a large degree in negotiations by the salary cap. So that change has been interesting to me. And I think it's just made it more enjoyable too.
I think that's true.
Bill, before I let you go, I have one simple question about something that has irked me for a long time. And I know it's because other leagues can do it. And here's the thing.
Hopefully I'm not to blame for it.
No, but I think you could fix it. When I walk into the Oilers dressing room and any other visiting team, right on the board, it'll say puck drop, 7:38, 7:43, whatever the puck drop is for that day, which is fun. But MLB and MFL, they put it on their sites, the exact time kickoff is or first pitch. It might be 1:07, it might be 2:20, but it's right there. The NHL still says 6 o'clock, 7:30, whatever. And we know that's not close. Is there any way to have it? Because the teams clearly know when the puck drop is, to have that publicly.
You're pointing out something that has not been brought to my attention as a complaint before. So I'm going to have to look into it. I do think we have standard timing procedures that, absent a reason to alter, which is sometimes national broadcast, but for local broadcast where, puck drop is 7:07 or 7:37, it's pretty standard. But
on your website, it says,
if we're not publishing that, then maybe we should.
Yeah. No, it's very simple. But on your web, because if I go to MLB, it'll say 1:07. So I know exactly when the first pitch is. And I get that that's broadcast time. But now with all the sports networks, lots of them are doing pregame shows 35 minutes before the puck drop, right? So I just thought it'd be a small little detail that people know, hey, puck drop tonight, 7:45. Not 7:30, 7:40.
I have a favorite ask, Bill. Do not tell Gary that I gave him a couple of compliments here today, because I don't need the harassment that is coming the next time I see him.
I won't. I will.
Bill,
Let's see if it gets back to him from another source.
Oh yeah,
Bill, we
and that
appreciate
might
this.
happen because Gary's pretty good at getting into the crevice.
Yes,
He does know what's going on for sure.
Well, we really appreciate this, Bill, so much. Generous for your time. Continued success, and hopefully everything goes as smooth when you knocked on wood at the upcoming arena for the Olympics.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
For your friendship, I appreciate knowing you over the years. It's
Same here, Rich.
Thanks, Bill.
There you go. That is Bill Daly, the Deputy Commissioner for the National Hockey League. I'll dare to dream. Now we got it on his plate.
Oh, there you go.
I'll be following up the next time I see Bill. Bill, you can't tell me you don't know about it now because it's a very simple thing. It's small, and I know because I'm telling you why. There's no reason. The NFL, 11 o'clock, some are 2:15, some are 2:20. It's fine. I don't care what the time is.
Well, the only answer to that might be, from a business standpoint, there's one more commercial and they want people watching it, right? That could be the issue. And if that's the case, that makes some sense.
But I'll say this: anybody who watches the NFL games that start at 2:15 doesn't seem to. They're the most successful league in North America. Doesn't seem to be bothering them, right? MLB does it. 107.
They might not need the extra commercial. We actually might.
Yeah, but you're still the commercial's still paid either way. It's not changing.
When I lived in LA, you should just take the LA Dodgers fan approach. LA Dodgers fans show up in the third inning, and if it's not a decent game, they go home at the sixth. So maybe just take in the second period, you'll be fine.
Yeah. No, it's I just think it's a small little detail that's annoying as hell. Like there's games sometimes 7:30. It's 7:52.
Do you know what the NBA should do? The game. The tip off is at 7:05. They should say the game starts at 9:20. Because there's nothing happening there until about the fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, it was people could say a lot of things. I don't like every sport's different. They got different things. It's not like the NHL's perfect. We can get into a few of the things in the NHL. Like I like lots about the NHL. I like lots about sports, but
we should have
start time.
We got to have a show next month. The not perfect. We should really focus on that because there's really a lot of things they could change.
Well, we could say commissioner. We could do a business of sport commissioner for the day.
There you go.
And look at the NHL. And okay, Rich, you get your 15 minutes to present.
I'm just trying to decide which of my agent colleagues I want to invite on to be the commissioner, so that I don't have to take that heat.
Yes. Well, you just be like, this is what I want to change. Been in the league a long time. Been around the league a long time. I think we could have interaction from the listeners. Something we could do very simply is if you got to be the commissioner, what are some, and they have to be realistic. Like what's a realistic change? Because I know we have lots of people saying, well, I want to be able to watch all the games. But I understand why, when you look at it from a business, why they're not going to be.
But I don't understand why we're producing, like what Colin Wilson said to me. He said, look, Rich, I'm watching this game. It's not like he's British. He's never seen a hockey game. He's going, these guys are traveling at twice the speed a man could run.
Well, I agree.
They're allowed
TV doesn't make the game.
No, they're allowed to hit each other. They're wearing blades on their feet. This is the most excitement I've seen in a team sport. And why are you shooting it with a camera on a 4-story balcony there? It's just so obvious.
Yes.
He says, give me 40 cameras. Let me position them. Let me work on it. And that excitement that you're seeing in row one, Rich, when you sat at that AHL game, it'll be in the living room. So when that young girl, 17 years old, who's a sports fan, walks across her TV after immigrating from Mexico, she's going, oh my goodness, Dad, look at this. And we're just missing a huge opportunity because we're not giving the platform that the guys have earned by playing at the level they are to display it in a way that people can digest it. Makes no sense to me.
I agree with that one wholeheartedly.
And you can charge for every... Man, how many kids do we know if there was a Connor McDavid cam and a Leon Draisaitl cam, a shootout cam from both sides? How many kids would just pay an extra $5 to?
Well, the kids would. How many parents would? That's the question.
Well, they're buying hockey equipment. So if the kid's asking for an extra $5 to watch Connor McDavid cam for one game, I don't think it's an issue.
Yeah. Well, but if it's 80 games, now that's 400 bones.
Right. So you have to manage that as a parent. You got 4 games this year, son. You pick them.
Yeah. Rich, we'll talk to you next Wednesday. Have a good one. Sure. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. It's November to remember. Save thousands on new and pre-owned inventory. Great selection. Even better people. NorthgateGM.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
5 games on the ice tonight in the NHL, getting going shortly. You got the Maple Leafs hosting the Mammoth, followed by the Blues in Washington. Flames host the Jackets. Canucks meet the Blackhawks and the Sharks in Seattle in the association. 11 games on the schedule, including the Sixers taking on the Cavs. Pistons host the Jazz. Wizards up against the Celtics. Knicks meet the Timberwolves. Heat in Denver. The Lakers and the Spurs. Thunder in Portland, and the Kings hosting the Warriors. The Edmonton Oil Kings are in action tonight, taking on the Red Deer Rebels. That one gets going at 7 o'clock down at Rogers Place. And the CFL, the Ottawa Redblacks hiring Ryan Dinwiddie to be their head coach and general manager. He spent the last 5 seasons with the Argos, winning Grey Cups in 2022 and 2024. In the AJ, Grand Prairie and Canmore, while Olds hosting Fort Mac. Both those games start at 7. In college basketball down south, number 23 Creighton hosting South Dakota at 6. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportshead and Tyler Yaremchuk of Oilers Nation. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Get Black Friday prices now at The Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching Love Cedar chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off. And with every mattress purchase, you're entered for a chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
When it comes to sports in Edmonton, Jason Gregor is a must-listen. He brings you the inside scoop with guests from across North America. If it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first. Gregor rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports 1440.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
Increase your lean muscle mass and fight age-related energy decline with Regenerlife Creatine. This high-quality, third-party tested supplement helps replenish your body's energy stores to support your resistance training. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa Service Department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. And once again, big thanks to Bill Daly. It's not very often you get the deputy commissioner of the NHL on your show for an hour's time. So good stuff with Bill. Interesting talking about a lot of different topics. And who knows, maybe in the future. Well, it was interesting what he had to say. He believes that eventually all games will be available. He just says times are changing, but couldn't say when. But that to me was something interesting and not surprising. But that's something that feels like, you know what? Now that things change quickly in technology. How soon will you have it so there's not blackouts? And I know because somebody's like, you know what? You live in Edmonton and you want to watch a certain team because your friend or whoever, or they're just your favorite team and can't really see their games. Now there's a way to do it. And, without having blackout, although there's probably going to be a cost to it. Let's make I just give it away for free, right? Like you still pay for your cable subscription, right? It's not free. You pay for it. You get part of it. You get sports, you get everything else. So there you go. The Gregor Show is always brought to you by playalberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the code Gregor50. You make a $50 deposit. They'll match it. So it's 2 for 1. Sweet deal. Playalberta.ca. It's time now for the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialist. And if you're looking for not just a job, but a career, they're always looking for great people to hire. So go to gsconstruction.ca and look up careers. It's Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Don't we already have that where you can watch every game? Doesn't Sportsnet do that?
Well, you got to pay for it. And then,
yeah.
No, but they're like right now, yeah, you got to pay specific, but if you want it, because we had people text in, like I just have the channels, right? So I don't have it Sportsnet Plus or anything else, but even then there's things where you got to pay extra for this or extra for that. So, people don't like paying for everything. But like I said, like you can't just get it for free. There's going to be some cost to it at some point. So,
well, I think if they're going to sell you if I live here and my nephew plays for the Florida Panthers and I want to watch 82 Panther games, maybe they can sell me something where I just get Panther games. I don't know. But if I want the league, I expect that there would be a cost to getting a chance to watch every game in the league. It ain't going to be free, folks. I'm here to tell you, whether I work for Sportsnet or not, they don't give that stuff away in our world today, do they? Does any other sport give it away for free? I don't think so.
No, but Bill did say he believes that it's coming in the future where every game will be available nationally. So whether that's online and streaming or whichever form. So it's something to watch moving forward for sure. Lately, the Oilers, unfortunately, Spec, they give away 2-goal leads for free. They have surrendered the most multi-goal leads in the NHL this season. And, they had a great first period. Then they went 21 minutes, they had 1 shot on goal. Dallas makes it 2-1. And then Edmonton scores 3-1. And you're thinking, okay, they're not going to give it away this time. And then they do again.
Yeah. I wonder, the thing for me is, like, I hear every once in a while say, well, we've got to learn from this. I think, like, wait a second. Haven't they played the second most playoff games of any NHL team in the last 5 years? Like, if they have learned how to win tight games, how to hang on to a 2-1 lead in the third period, how to prevail in another building when the other team's coming and coming and coming. Like, we're not still learning that, are we? Like, don't tell me all those playoff games that the Oilers have played in all those massive pressure situations. And now we're learning how to win in St. Louis in November. Is that what's going on here? That part's above me, man. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think like it's an ongoing learning. It's not like you just say, hey, guess what? We know what works. Yeah, don't make mistakes. The problem is mistakes happen all the time. It's just the Oilers. Like yesterday, I couldn't believe they're up 2-0. And it's just like, well, we're just going to win 2-0. We don't need any other shots on goal. And that's just not ideal. Like you can't go 21 minutes with 1 shot, but that just illustrates what's been an issue for this team so far this season, a lack of shots, which was, I know people say, no, it's coaching. Well, last year they were number 1 in 5-on-5 in shots. So I don't know. You think the coaches came out there and said, guys, I want you to pass up good shots in the slot, right? Like, I'm not buying that. Now, do I think the coach could maybe put a little bit more emphasis on getting traffic in front? Sure. You can set whatever level is the coach, you can set it. We've heard the players talk about what their standard is. Well, right now their standard on going to the net and creating traffic just isn't good.
Yeah, I'm less worried about the 21 minutes because when the 21 minutes ended, they were up still 2-1. And Dallas is a good team, and they took their share of the game. And then McDavid scores off that rush, a real nice play, and they're up 3-1. I'm far more concerned with the last 12 minutes. Like when it's 3-1 with 12 minutes to play, that's enough. That's enough offense. That's enough push. It's time to say, okay, everybody's going to make sure they got their guy here, and they're not going to score 2 more goals on us. So, I mean, everyone can be concerned about their own thing. You're worried about that 21 minutes. I get it. I'm not discounting that. My concern is the last 12 minutes. This team needs to know, like, that's my whole point with the playoff experience. They do know how to hold on to a lead, how to shut down defensively, how to play no event hockey for the last 12 minutes and just win, put a game away, score an empty net goal type thing. And that's the part that concerns me, Jay, is where did that institutional knowledge disappear to? And when do we think we might get that back?
Yeah, well, if I knew the answer to that, Spec, I'd be making big money. It's a great question. Is it a lack of focus?
Yes,
probably. Right? Is it
lack? That was Heiskanen. I get it. That was a totally lucky goal on Dallas's part, and good for them. Everybody gets their break. Oilers have got a bunch too. But my point is, Heiskanen is at the corner of your net, completely unattended by any Oilers player. That I don't care where that puck goes. He gets a lucky bounce. That you can't blame the Oilers for a bad bounce. But oh my goodness, the other day, P.S. Suter sitting in front of their net with a minute and a half left, with time to dangle in front of Pickard before he shoots it past him. The next night, it's Heiskanen all alone in your slot with no one around him while he puts it in the net. Like, who's picking people up here? Where's our defensive conscience? Where's our defense structure? That's what's missing for me.
No, that's fair. Like, we watch that replay, and Nugent Hopkins was the one coming back. Now, he thinks the guy's going to pass. So he kind of goes down to try to, you watch him, doesn't go down, but he bends over thinking he's going to try to get in the lane because he sees Heiskanen to block it. But then to me, like, the game is so quick. You make that second decision wrong, and now you're screwed because you can't recover 6 feet in that span of time. It's impossible, right? But so if someone says, hey, Nugent Hopkins, shoulder check, pick up Heiskanen sooner,
yep,
then you don't worry about it, right? And so the game's made of mistakes for sure, and it just seems the Oilers are making the key mistake at the worst time. Like, if you make a mistake in the neutral zone, Spec, right? Wrong read, and you give up a 2-on-2 or whatever. But if you're making the wrong read 10 feet from your net, the odds of it going in the back of your net increase significantly.
Yes, they do. So, I mean, we're all stuck in the small picture because we're watching each game. They get 2 games. They could have had 4 points. They got 1. I will say this to you, Jay. If their problem right now is that they're getting 2-goal leads and can't hang on to them, that's a lot better problem than not ever getting the lead and just losing games because you can't score, you can't play, you can't get a lead, you can't, you're not getting your share of play. So they can fix this, right? I think if you continue to get out quick and score 2-goal leads, I'm not, this is a problem that's very fixable. The opposite end of that problem is the Calgary Flames. They never get the lead, right? How are you fixing that?
Yeah, well, fair point. They did score, they've had 2-goal leads here lately. Like, they've only won 2 of their last 7 games, and they've blown 3 2-goal leads in that time, which is not, which is less than ideal. So now they got 3 days off, and, today's off, and they'll practice tomorrow, and they'll practice Friday. I see a lot of people talking about, the Oilers have all these tough decisions because they got guys coming back. Spec, I spent 2 minutes looking at the salary cap. The Oilers don't have tough decisions. So you've got Hyman, you got Janmark, and now Kapanen is on the roster technically, but he's on IR. Now you could leave him there, and you bring Hyman back off of LTIR. The Oilers can put Troy Stetcher on waivers, and you can send one up to Massacre Howard down, and you're fine. Like this is, and when Kapanen comes back, you could send the other one. So Howard and Tomasic, neither one requires waivers. They could go down. And then you have Troy Stetcher on waivers. So the big risk is that you lose Troy Stetcher. Like, I don't know why people are freaking out. Like the Oilers are in such a tough space here. Their salary cap would be $95,436,000. So they would be about $60K under the salary cap, which is legal. So I don't see why this is such a big issue.
No, I mean, I get it. People don't, they don't do all the math on this thing. Salary cap's complicated. I guess, like, let's rephrase it. So we're not panicking about losing players, quote unquote, but there is a roster shakeup coming here, right? There's a roster shakeup coming. If you're telling me you're going to run out, two guys that played last night in Tomasic and Howard, and sending Howard is a fairly big decision. Send him to the HL, a decision I'm completely in favor of, by the way. I think it's the decision to make. You could make it tomorrow for all I guess he's got to pay his share of the rookie dinner tonight. Then you send him down. But, I'm fine with that. If Tomasic goes down, it can't hurt him. I don't love his game up here. I'm not at this point. I don't see Tomasic as an NHL, a guy that's going to help much. So maybe going to the Yale help him. I don't know about that. He's 29 years old, but so far not so great for Tomasic. And Stetcher, you hate to lose Stetcher. I've said in this show many times, I got a lot of respect for Stetcher.
Yeah, but are you sure? I'm
not saying you lose them. Yeah. You might lose them.
Yeah,
you might lose. No one's sure. I think local media and fans always overestimate their own players. The local people always say, "Oh, our guy will never clear," and they almost always do. They almost always. Now, Stetcher's a 550 game guy. He's a bit of a warrior. He's played around the league. A lot of people know him. He would have good reviews from all of his former teammates and coaches. So he's, this isn't sending down some nobody. This isn't sending down a guy that's, it's somewhere in the middle between a guy that's going to get picked up for sure and a guy that there's no chance he's going to get picked up. There's some question marks. I'm not telling you Stetcher's getting picked up, but I'm not telling you he's not. A team's got a couple injuries. They might pick him up.
Oh yeah, no, they might. And you know what? It'd be a loss, but it's they don't need to make these trades. They're not in a real tough situation.
They got a good team. It's a good problem to have.
Exactly. Lots of teams have, an innate defenseman that they think can help them if he goes somewhere. And then they move him around, and there might be another 8 defensemen on waivers next week when another guy gets healthy. It's just kind of how it goes. But I don't think they're in that big of an issue. I think they're, they're 5-on-5 scoring. I will say this: it's back-to-back games that the McDavid, Mangiapane, Nugent Hopkins line scored a really nice goal off the rush. Jack Roslovic, what a great play to Podkolzin, right? Like they gave you a glimmer of life there, Spec. But the one thing I will say about the Oilers is there hasn't been much glimmer of emotion on this team. And we had Mike Rupp on the show earlier, and he mentioned how, man, I was one, I'd stand up for my teammates in a heartbeat. But I wasn't a guy early in my career who would initiate. I would react to it, and the minute someone said anything, I was there, no problem. But I wouldn't initiate. And he goes, Trent Frederick on this team needs to initiate. He needs to be somebody who, because, and I love what he said. He said, because when you start doing that, the other team starts focusing on you because they get annoyed and they get mad. And, it might cause a guy, because now he's pissed off at Frederick, and he's like, can't wait to get that guy again. And then meanwhile, McDavid or Draisaitl will go out in their next shift and they dance around a guy because he's not focused. And he said that really works. And because the Oilers, Corey Perry would do it a little bit at times, and he seemed to know. And I look at Frederick, and you're not scoring. And I actually think his last 4 games have probably been his best 4 games. He's more physical, but there's no emotion. Like last night when Bichelle went after Savoy, and he came over and threw, I was like, okay, like next shift, he should have went right after someone else. And they don't seem to have that. And it's kind of been an organizational flaw for a long, long time.
It has been. And I think when you're Troy Frederick, it's time to figure out what my role is on this team. This guy's part of it here. He just signed for 7 years, 8 years. He signed for 8 or 7.
8 years.
8 years. Like, he's here, man. This guy's part of the core now. And so let's think of how Frederick's going to help this team and figure out a role that's sort of uniquely his. It's not going to be as a scorer, because he's not a scorer. It's probably not going to be as a top 6 player, because he's really not a top 6 player. That's fine. Doesn't have to be. You don't need all top 6 players. So he's going to be a depth guy. Well, he's got to stand out here. He's going to be the anchor depth guy on this team. Depth players come and go. The Kapanens come, the Janmarks come, then they go here and there. This guy's here for 8 years. He ain't going anywhere. So if I'm Trent Frederick, I want to say, like, what can I lay claim to that's sort of innately my role on this team? What can I do so I can say, hey, I got a role, I'm going to fulfill it. I know, like Corey Perry, when to step up and to really exert my role. What's it going to be, Jay? Like, you know, I think it's got to have some physicality. I'm not saying he stands at center right and fights every night. That's not it. Nobody does that anymore. He's not Arbor Jack Guy or Rempe in New York. Fight once in a while, sure, whatever. But he needs to figure out what he does here, because right now he's just skating around, and he's not a skill guy. He doesn't have top 6 skills. He doesn't score a bunch of goals and points. Never has, never will. So we got this guy for 8 years, man. You got to figure out what you do around here, and I would say it's time to start.
Yeah, no, it's a valid point. Spec, hey, quickly, what do you think of Bieber's decision to stay at the Jays? That's a huge one for them.
I know. Didn't you have Wilner on the other day? He told you Bieber's going out to make a bunch of money somewhere.
No, well, he goes, I'm not. He goes, I don't. I asked him about Bieber. He goes, well, I think he's a Southern California guy. And
yeah. Well, don't have him back. Hey, I mean, look at their rotation now. Gossman, Yasavich, Bieber, and who? I don't know. Barrios, let's say.
Yeah, Barrios, if he gets back, he's probably one for sure. And then they got the youngster. Why am I forgetting his name? The big tall kid. He's huge. So I mean, he's got some potential, and they'll probably sign another starter, I would think.
Right, but their first 3 starters are really good. And if Barrios is my 4th starter, I can live with that. That's a big one, man. That's a big one. I think Bieber shows, I think, to me anyway, I see a veteran pitcher who could have gone to a lot of places in this league, looks at that roster and says, no, I want to stay here because I think this team can win. That as a guy that's on the outside looking in, that inspires confidence in this team in me.
Yeah, I would agree. Spec, we'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy. Have a good one.
Thanks, Jay.
That is Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We'll come back. We'll get to the oil report next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicks things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Increase your lean muscle mass and fight age-related energy decline with Regenerlife Creatine. This high-quality third-party tested supplement helps replenish your body's energy stores to support your resistance training. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I've got to get 2 cheeseburgers, medium fries, and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. Hey, maybe I'll eat 1 cheeseburger right away and save one for later. Maybe I'll stack them and eat them both at once. Options. Oh, delicious, delicious options.
So 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a 2 cheeseburger meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair. They'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast. Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Stories are told to make a point, and GS Construction takes them very seriously. We're not talking about fairy tales. GS Construction looks at the story old pipes tell us, a tale of time and pressure and endurance. So when those old pipes are ready to end their story, GS Construction starts a new chapter by repairing or rebuilding, or in some cases, renewing the underground infrastructure that supports our modern lives, making sure every community's story continues on safely and reliably. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth WE football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast from. Check it out, elksnation.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us as you make your way home. Be sure to turn your lights on, boys and girls. It's dark now. Make your way home. You don't want to be the person driving on the road with your rear lights not on and everybody's freaking out. So make sure your front and rear lights are on. Some vehicles, the auto doesn't mean your tail lights are on. 833-401-1440. Can text us in our inbox, your partner in power since 1976. For all your electrical gear, EWEL.ca. As we get to the oil report now, brought to you by Go Auto. Go Auto has donated over $24 million to local charities and takes pride in supporting the communities where they live and do business. It's amazing stuff at goauto.ca. As Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation joins us once again. And Ty, how you doing?
Not bad here on a Wednesday. I'm almost over the Blue Jays stuff. Like I still get a little sad when I hear you talking about Shane Bieber, but it's a shorter sadness than.
Yeah, but aren't you excited that Bieber? Like everybody was like, "Oh, there's no chance he's leaving. He gets $4 million to leave," and he's like, "No, I'm staying. 1-year deal. Let's wind it back up and see what happens."
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the projections, like this is a guy who probably pretty easily could have gotten himself like 75 million guaranteed on a 3 or 4 year deal. So he's leaving a lot of money on the table. The only thing that I don't understand the baseball landscape well enough to get to this part, but like the looming potential lockout, how is that going to have an effect on this year's free agency? Like how are players going to manage that? Because the next CBA, I mean, it could make it way better to be a free agent. It could make it way worse. I wonder how the looming lockout affects some of these guys and their thinking.
Well, I wonder if that's why he only signed a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So is that, to me, I was like, interesting. But yes, I know that'll be a fascinating thing to watch in baseball. The Edmonton Oilers. It is there's been no shortage of storylines to watch. Not always positive for the Edmonton Oilers. They find different ways to lose games. Right now they've been to overtime 5 times. They've only scored a goal once in 5 games. They used to be money in 3-on-3. Are you surprised by their lack of success 3-on-3 so far this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, how could you not be surprised by it? I guess is what I'd say. Like, it's the same guys. It's Connor, it's Leon, and it's Evan Bouchard. Like, those 3 are traditionally so dominant. And what else is it's not worrisome, but it's, I guess, annoying from an Oilers perspective, is they've had chances like that season opener against Calgary. They had a power play in overtime. There was another game not that long ago, I'm blanking on which one it was, but they also got a power play in overtime and couldn't score on it. So a little bit annoying from that perspective, where like they're getting these great opportunities, they're just not finding the back of the net. It's also 1 month in, and like everything, like even with their 5-on-5 offense, like, are there guys who need to be better? Yes. Is part of it just, it's a cold stretch for a few of these guys, and the fact that it's happening in the first month of the season means it's magnified? I also think that's a part of it. Like, I know people are on Trent Frederick, and I get that you want him to be a little bit more involved physically, but like even the goal scoring side of it, when he had his 18-goal season with the Boston Bruins a few years back, he had a 17-game stretch where he only scored 1 goal. Like, he's shown in the past, he is a streaky goal scorer. A lot of guys who play bottom 6 minutes just tend to be streaky goal scorers. So I'm not hitting the panic button on anything yet. I really don't think anyone is. But even with a guy like Frederick, it's like, all right, what happens if he gets hot for 2 weeks, scores 4 goals in 7 games, and all of a sudden his ratios and his projections, they all look way better. So again, frustrating in the moment because you're watching, and Oilers fans live and die with every game. You have a text line. I see my YouTube chat. We experience the frustration every day, but like, deep breath, everybody. It'll be all right.
Well, yeah, you would think so. I do think there's some areas of their game that's a concern for me. Their net front presence offense is almost non-existent. And I know that Zach Hyman, when he comes back, that'll help, but he only plays on one line. That doesn't mean the other 3 lines are magically going to do it if they're not doing it. So I don't like that. And I don't like the lack of shots on goal or like how many rebounds. I think they've got one rebound goal that's in tight. We know that Emerson and Draisaitl, that game against Utah, obviously they saw something that he kicked out 2 rebounds to the far side and both of them went in, right? But those weren't around the net rebounds, right? Like, those don't happen very often. Like, the Oilers have 1 goal on a rebound chance in tight. And that just means you don't have enough guys there, and you don't have enough bodies when you're shooting the puck to get the rebounds.
Yeah. I would even say, like, at both ends of the ice, managing rebounds is a pretty big issue for this team. On my show the other day, Liam put together a montage of how many goals against have come from in tight, where a defenseman loses their man and the second opportunity, boom, it gets banged in, or someone just has too much time in front. And it's like, I mean, I know it's maybe a little old school hockey brain, but if you're an Oilers defenseman, just start putting guys on their behinds. Like, I know that Bouchard goal against St. Louis, or the game-winning goal for St. Louis, where Bouchard was right in front of the net. That one's been talked about a lot, but on that play, like, just knock the guy down, just hammer him. And like, if you take a penalty, whatever, you saved a goal. And you're right on the other end. Like, when an offense is struggling, I'd like to see them play with a little bit more desperation, get bodies in front, hammer pucks towards the net. Maybe one goes in off your knee. Maybe one goes in off a skate. You get a good deflection. And like, there's been games this year where they've done it and it's worked. I think about that win against Montreal when their offense started to generate and they've scored, ended up with 6 in that game. The Tomasic goal, the goal at the end with Podkolzin, like, those were results of funneling pucks towards the net. And then you get the lucky bounces, like just sitting on the perimeter, the amount of times they pass from the middle of the ice to the outside. At some point, you just need to put your head down and be like, you know what? If we're going to get out of this offensive slump, it's not going to be by setting up a bunch of nice, pretty passing goals. It's going to be by putting 2 skates right at the top of the blue paint and letting your teammates fire pucks towards the front of the net. You have to make your own bounces at some point.
Oh, 100%. We might, and it's too early, but, Janmark and Hyman are getting close. And, Kapanen, he's still a few weeks away, but he's on the roster technically on IR. But when Hyman comes off, they got to make some moves, no question. Regula's back now. They're not going to carry 8 defensemen. They got 23 guys in the roster. So, you look at it. The easy moves when Janmark and Hyman come back is you move a defenseman and then you move one of Howard or Tomasic to the minors. And then when Kapanen's ready, you can move the other one of those 2, which I assume would be Tomasic, to the minors. And the Oilers are cap compliant. Like, it's like Troy Stetcher's a potential risk, sure, but it's not like they're in a huge problem here. And I think Ike Howard playing 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes a night is just not beneficial for him long term. I'd rather see him in the minors.
No, and I don't even think it needs to be a long stint in the minors, in the sense of, like, I don't think you need to put him down there and say, all right, talk to you next training camp, Ike. Like, I think you can put him down there for 2 months, and then you know what? End of January, early February, when you start to get to that point where you need to really plan for the trade deadline, bring him back up. Like the year Kyler Yamamoto came up, at the end of December, right on that New Year's Eve game, like he was lights out for a couple of months for the Oilers in a top 6 role. So I think you can send down Howard, let him get a bunch of puck touches. He's a player. You can tell. I'm sure you can tell by talking to him. You can tell by watching. Like he thrives on confidence. Let him go down there and score a goal every 2 games in Bakersfield or a goal every 3 games and come up feeling, having some swagger in his game. So I agree with you. There's a very easy decision to be made here. And on the note of Troy Stecher, I do get nervous about losing that layer of depth on the blue line, which is why, like, unless you're 100% certain as an organization that he's going to get claimed, I don't just trade him to try find whatever the phrase was, a soft landing spot or just to do right by the player. I tell him, like, hey, I know it sucks that you're a vet and you got to go back to Bakersfield and play in the American League, but we know from watching the playoff run last year and the year before, you don't need 6 defensemen. You don't need 7. You need 8 defensemen to get through a run to the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is a team that had Josh Brown play a playoff game last season against the LA Kings. Like, I would hate to just trade Troy Stecher for a future considerations or a 7th round pick to do right by the player. And then at the deadline, you're sitting there going, well, we should probably go acquire someone like Troy Stecher, and it's the deadline, so it costs you a 4th.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I look at the orders. The other aspect is, people like fatigue. Is it a factor? I don't know. They've played one more game than like 10, 15 other teams. I don't, like we knew that they had a heavy road schedule to start the season, and that's going to continue. They play at home for 2, and then they're on the road for 7 straight. That gets you right to the end of the month. Like that's just what their schedule is. Like the Oilers have blown both of their losses on home ice when they had a 3-0 and a 3-1 lead. So, and that one was the first game of the season. So, like the issues for the Oilers have been there now for 15 games, and it really hasn't improved. Blowing leads, lack of 5-on-5 scoring, lack of net front presence, some glaring defensive miscues. Like there's not a lot about the team that's going well. I still think the Oilers are fine, but at some point you got to switch, and we need to see a reduction in those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even defensively, like they prevent shots at a very good rate. They're, I think, the 3rd best team in the league at it. But then you go and watch, and the amount of times where it's blown coverage. And this isn't just about the 6 defensemen. This is about the forwards as well. I know you and Spec were talking about Nugent Hopkins, but that second goal of the game, if Jack Roslovic takes 2 more hard strides, he might get in Mikko Rantanen's way and break up that play. Like it's a 5-man issue defending and stopping these glaring mistakes, because you just. And I'm not going to defend the goalies. I don't want people to take it this way, because the goaltending's been a little inconsistent early on in the season too. But like when you have a game like last night against Dallas, where the save percentage looks horrendous on Stuart Skinner, but yet you look at the goals and you go, none of those goals are his fault. And also he had to face 6 other high danger chances, and he stopped those other 6 high danger chances. Like you can't just give up 24 shots, pat yourself on the back and say, oh, look, we prevented them from getting chances, when out of those 24 shots, 9 of them were from dangerous areas, and a bunch of them were because you shot yourself in the foot and had a bad turnover in the neutral zone and didn't want to work hard to make up for it, or you misread something in the D zone. Like that's the part that's really frustrating to me, is it's stuff it's almost effort based, or it's staying focused. Like it's not like these guys aren't good enough hockey players to be executing and to be not making these mistakes. It's just, it feels, I don't want to use the L word, but it feels like lazy at times.
Yeah, uninspired, probably.
Yeah,
a word I could use. And they got to get better at it. There's no question about it that it's like last night, the high danger chances were significantly in favor of Dallas. Edmonton, hey, they scored on theirs. Like the Draisaitl goal, I'm not even sure I can limit that high. Like that's such a ridiculous shot. Good for him. But they didn't generate a ton of high danger chances despite getting out to the early lead, right? Like that's where you'd think, hey, here we go. But the Oilers playing with the lead this year have been awful 5-on-5. They've been crushed when they're playing with leads, which is weird, because to me, that's just a killer instinct. And right now they don't seem to have it.
Yeah, and killer instinct. And it goes back to, like, I don't know, I think playing with some passion. Like it's maybe lame and simple to put it that way, but like you should go out there and get up 2-0 and think like hell yeah, boys, let's roll these guys 6-0 tonight. Instead, it feels like they want to retreat into this, like, okay, play it safe, dump in pucks, let's not get too crazy here. And then the result is what the results have been. And it's a whole bunch of blown leads, like blowing 6 2-goal leads at this point in the season. Granted, they came back and won 2 of those games, so bounce back, sure. But even having 4 blown leads on your resume, just, it's not good enough for a team of their caliber.
Yeah, they've been outscored 12-7 at 5-on-5 when they're leading the game. And
This can't happen.
No. And the thing is, like, they've had not an abundance amount. I think they've had like the 10th most 5-on-5 time with a lead. So, being in pretty decent position, but can't get outscored that bad when you have a lead. So, because they're clearly not being able to shut it down. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah. And I was surprised today. You go look front page of NHL.com and it's like Connor McDavid's leading the league in scoring and Leon Draisaitl's tied for the lead in goals. And it's like, and they're still not scoring at 5-on-5. Like I was looking up the numbers with Connor and Leon off the ice at 5-on-5. They're getting outscored 16-8. Like you need some of these guys a little lower in the lineup as much as, again, I'm totally fine saying, hey, it's just a tough first month. I think some guys like Matt Savoy, I think eventually Matt Savoy will start to get some goals here. I would hope Trent Frederick's got a bit, like has a better level of hockey in him, but again, this is the month here with a tough road trip. You are going to need some players not named Connor and Leon to start scoring.
Ty, great stuff, buddy. We will chat with you next week. Have a good one.
Sounds good. See you, Gregs.
That's Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation. That's the Oil Report brought to you by Go Auto. Quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot of text to get to and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Get Black Friday prices now at the Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching love seater chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off, and with every mattress purchase, you're entered for a chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Think your credit's not good enough for a new ride? Think again. Go Auto's car loan calculator is here to help. No commitments, no credit hits, just real answers. You tell us a few things, and we'll show you what you can afford. Text credit to 780-777-7777. That's credit to 780 all sevens. Go Auto. We do the math, so you can do the driving.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Strudling. How would you like to join me and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday? Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from Los Angeles and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters, you can attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Fernando Pisani, Kelly Buckberger, Ron Lowe, Gene Principe, Jack Michaels, Louis DeBrusque, and more. There's still time to get in on every hockey fan's dream cruise. Book now and save $500 per couple. The Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. Price start at just $23.99. Part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
Visit cast.tours/Edmonton. Call 1-833-347-7678. Call now to book and save $500 per cabin when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours, 1-833-347-7678.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
This is Hoop City with Paul Sir on Sports 1440.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! We did it!
Here's your host, Paul Sir.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL. Get your power play amped up with UL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. UL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$5.50 as we wrap up a busy Wednesday. If you missed any part of the show, remember, go to jasongregor.com. Individual interviews are there, or get the podcast anywhere where you get your podcast, or just rewatch the show on our YouTube channel at Sports 1440. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button. Very much appreciate it. It'll be awesome. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Few other notes. We haven't really talked about it, but man, the OKC Thunder, the defending champs, are 8-0 off to a. They were 7-0 to start last year, Cons, and they've upped it by one. They're 8-0, and their next three games, they've got Portland, Sacramento, and Memphis. Now, Portland is, I think Portland's averaging like 120 points a game right now. So they're definitely somebody to be reckoned with a little bit. They are 4-3. It's not like they're a dominant team, but Sacramento, not very good. Memphis, meh. They could easily be 11-0, and then they play Golden State and the Lakers. So, well, I'm kind of curious to see how far they go undefeated. Obviously not going to go the whole way, but they're off to another great start, man, and they look really good. And I will say Luka Doncic looks he's off to a pretty good start scoring wise for the Lakers as well.
Yeah, averaging 41 points a game. Austin Reeves has been great for the Lakers as well. I'm curious to see what happens when LeBron eventually does come back. How that could upset the chemistry potentially. A guy that does need the ball in his hands quite a bit. But you're right, OKC having a heck of a run here, and in their last 3-4 games haven't really been tested. Like they've kind of ran away with these games. They're scoring a lot of points. So. Yeah, they got as we all know, a loaded roster.
Yeah, their first two games, double overtime. But since then, it's been pretty dominant performance by them. So not a surprise. Some early games in the NHL, the Con Man will update you on that. The Oilers, of course, not in action until Saturday when they take on the Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche are they in a break too? Both these teams going to be that rested? I don't think the Avs are playing tonight. No. Do they play Friday? They do not. So neither one of these teams is plus. So they're both going to be fired up and rested. That should be a really fast game on Saturday night. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Cougar, Rich Winter, and all of our other guests, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Let's get to the Con Man and Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay cool and warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
5 games on the ice tonight in the NHL. After 20 minutes, the Mammoth up on the Leafs 1-0. Midway through the first, Caps and Blues are scoreless. Later tonight, you got the Flames Jackets, Blackhawks in Vancouver, and the Kraken taking on the Sharks. In the association, in the second quarter, Cavs have a 51-38 lead over the 76ers. Jazz up on the Pistons 43-34, and the Pacers have a 42-38 lead over the Nets. Later on tonight, Grizz up against the Rockets, Pelicans in Dallas. You have the Lakers hosting the Spurs, Thunder in Portland, and the Kings taking on the Warriors. From the CFL, the Ottawa Redblacks hiring Ryan Dinwiddie as their next head coach and general manager. He spent the last 5 seasons as the Argos head coach, winning 2 Grey Cups. In the WHL, the Oil Kings in action tonight. Puck drop in about an hour, taking on the Red Deer Rebels. And in the AJ, you got Grand Prairie and Canmore, while Old hosting Fort Mac. Both of those games will start at 7 o'clock. And college hoops south of the border, number 23 Creighton hosting South Dakota. That one gets going in 5 minutes' time. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next,